Hey there, we're about to get started, but I'm kind of give a moment for Lux to join, but the intro is running and we're already live, and so that's where Luxander is, but I also need to fix the titles. They ended early over there and didn't send me a text, but luckily I was on it, and so I'm not even mad. I'm actually pretty mad, but no, I'm not. I'm fine. This is gonna be, we got to get going. The people on Threads right now are so brave, only on Threads. It's weird.
Wow.
You want to sing us in? You want to sing us in an intro?
It's calling it now, and so we're gonna call it now. And if you call in, we're gonna listen to your call. Calling it now with Jimmy and Luxander. Do.
I thought I'd have the title done by the time you finish, but I don't.
Typing is hard, dude.
It's more of getting like copying and pasting in this particular instance.
Getting all your formatting together.
Yeah, and that all that title stuff, and people are just like, we can hear them. Do they know they're live? I don't know if anybody's saying that yet. But you know, we're also letting the people gather from the other stream. It's all totally on purpose. Totally on purpose. All right.
What if we could get to 100 likes before the stream starts? What?
That would be phenomenal. Oh man, typing on a keyboard that's off to the side is wild, because I tried to put you in there and it came up as like Luxander.
Your fingers didn't know what to do because you rotated to the side.
Yeah. Luxander's pretty good though.
Yeah. My nicknames are getting increasingly silly.
Yeah. I might stick with Luxander.
All right. Luxander. Oh gosh.
Okay, I think that's good. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, welcome everybody, and this is the end of the song. That was actually all the theme song, even that part in the middle where you thought they were just talking. That was the song. Very professional. Very professional, so good. Indeed. How do we look? Let's see. Here's the big thing. Yep, that's all good. Hey, people, we are here to talk about the tough topics, and obviously today we've got like a topic that's tough but also just mostly dumb. I guess starting the thing that isn't dumb. Children died, and that fucking sucks. And there are already people, including people who I don't know if they're on our side or pretending to be on our side, but I'm going to be reading off of Threads a little bit today while we wait for calls to come in. So if you are a MAGA person, or you have some contention with our positions here as you know them, or specifically the claim on the screen, which I think is MAGA is wrong about trans and most things. And I even said it like a MAGA person would like to hear it. They love trans as an isolated noun. Do you know what I mean? Not as an adjective, not as a modifier. And listen, character limits also kind of love that. So I have a little bit of common ground with you all, that like, but you're never making the character limits argument. If you would have a point, but you don't. That's why, you know, gays in the right capacity could be justified over other more better terms. More better. Anyway, the people on Threads, and I'll be honest, people, I have a secret Twitter. I do. And the things being said in these places are wild and unhinged. And one of the things I did was put out a challenge. Hey, Mag, I'm not afraid of any of your transphobic BS, nor do I think you can actually defend your ideology without lying or proving you are wrong. If you think you could throw down, call. We'll be live in just over an hour. This was obviously an hour ago. And then somebody with like a lot of the right flags in there, description. I'm trying to see how they put it. I'm gonna read it word for word so as to not be accused of modifying it for political reasons. Said, oh gosh, it's funny how you can have like, I literally have 2 gigabit per second internet, and then you're like, all right, please open the comments on these threads, and it's like, you think Meta has their shit together that you can just have these comments as fast as your internet can bring them to you? That's not how anything works. Jesus Christ. It is taking forever to load. I'm also excited once we get a little bit more people. I have some really good threads to read to y'all while we wait for callers. Callers, MAGA, anti-trans, whatever people, if you think you can make your point. That phone number is 33654-32101. Made it so easy to remember. 33654-32101. Maybe I got banned from Threads. I don't know. Okay, here they are. Yeah. Okay, here was a person. Dog, I don't fucking give a shit who or what did it. Kids died. Stop trying to make money and followers off of this shit. It's pitiful, which is certainly one way to word it. The other way you always hear is stop making this political. Don't try to politicize it. Fuck that. Anybody with a platform, whether that platform is monetized or not, talk about it. I mean, I'm mostly saying on our side. Talk about it as fucking loudly as you can, because nothing is going to change fundamentally if we are only letting, they're like, oh, you're being bad because you have a monetized platform with a lot of people where you could actually influence the opinions of others and you actually could do something over here. But we should isolate it so that only Ben Shapiro and his ilk get to have the full narrative on the monetized platforms, and we should just let them run roughshod over all of us. That sounds so fucking brilliant. That sounds so fucking smart. Let's just let the right wings be the only voices speaking on that matter. Are you as down as I am?
Me?
That's for you, Lex. Yeah. Sorry,
Am I down? I mean,
I might be a little charged up today.
It's been a tough week. I mean, I was just telling Arden, I spent a lot of my like sorrow for the queer community this week earlier on like what I perceive to be like I don't know why, it's just a really big deal to me that they painted over the rainbow crosswalk at the Pulse nightclub memorial.
Sure.
It's like, I don't know why, but I was hit really hard by that. And then usually with mass shootings, I just kind of don't pay a lot of attention because they're not really different to one another for the most part. And the only reason why this one is even noteworthy is because this person seems like they're trans. But because they say that every time there's a mass shooter now, I'm like, okay, well, fucking prove it. But then I'm like, okay, well, there's enough evidence that I think this is a substantiated claim, and therefore now we have to think about it and talk about it. And it's really obnoxious to feel like I have to disavow that. And then, speaking of people telling us, oh, well, you shouldn't talk about it, stop monetizing this. Like, first of all, we talk about current events. And are you going to tell the news anchors to stop talking about it because they're making money on the advertisements? And there was another point that I was going to get to, but I have ADHD and I forgot what it was. The right wingers. So in the aftermath of this, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and other right-wing creators are not only making money covering this tragedy, but are making money calling for all trans people to be involuntarily put in like asylums and shit. Mm-hmm. So you're really coming after the wrong people, I feel like, if you're telling us that we're exploiting a tragedy for clicks and views. Like, we have a responsibility as well as an organization that has like a significant number of our contributors are trans. And we have the influence. It's the responsibility of brands and influencers to try to influence people to make better decisions, to think about things in a way that is more rational. If we can have that impact on people, that's what we want to do. Yep.
It's just dumb from the ground up. Could somebody tell me, does anybody in live chat, and we already have a call that is queued up here, that isn't quite on this topic, but we will take anybody on the topic of the shooter, trans stuff, whatever, the MAGA obsession with trans people. Could somebody tell me what it is? Is this because of Blue Sky, actually? Is it, or whatever, what is it called when like the Fediverse, is that what it's called? The
Fediverse, Federated.
Yeah. Is that why I can see that my thing has 16 comments, but I can't see the comments themselves?
I think it might be, I don't actually know, on Blue Sky?
No, on Threads. It says that, and I remember I fedied it once upon a time.
I think this is just what's wrong with Facebook. Because on Facebook, this happens to me all the time. I use Facebook probably more than I should. And I'll go to read the comments and it'll say 7 comments and I'll click and there's only 2 available. And then I'll switch modes. I'll be like, okay, so let's switch from most relevant to top comments. Okay, still only showing 2. Let's switch to all comments. Bitch, how are you still showing me only 2?
That's I think what's Facebook happening to me on Threads right now. Yeah, even if I open it in incognito. I thought maybe it had to do with the like.
I thought it was people blocking you or something, but I think it's just a bad platform.
But then if I even go look at it on an incognito window, it still doesn't show anymore. That's what I thought too. That was my first thought is, oh, this many people have me blocked. So I think it has to be that it's It's getting
I've even
fetty.
had that happen with people who I'm friends with on Facebook, and my partner and I have been confused. Like, did so and so block me? I can't see any of their comments anymore. Like, nope, just a trash platform.
All right. Oh, I like this. One person wrote, I see why no one engaged with you or your idiotic podcast. Your core is disgusting. Your linguistic skills are embarrassing. I think between all platforms, we account for 7 million-ish views a month. Between all platforms, I'm getting 7 million views. I'm definitely responding in real time.
Yeah.
That's
narrating.
A lot of no ones. And I'm going to write, who you going to call? And then I'm going to write, no one, because you're a bitch. All right. I'm 98% sure that's a cis man who I think it's okay to call bitches. Okay, people. There's also this fucking weirdo who's obsessed with myself and oh man, I love this one the most. He's accusing me of having written Matt's script for Matt when he did his whole Gaza genocide thing. Anyway, it's a guy who's obsessed with Forrest and I going on and saying, no, you guys did this. The shooter did this because you guys support anti-Semitism because of the thing you're lying. And I'm literally like, just call, have it out. You gonna call? Who are you gonna call? No one, because you're a bitch. And this person in particular, they gave an excuse for why they're not calling. And so I want to give it to the chat and see if chat would like to respond to this in any way before we jump into calls. Check this out. Caller, the person said, so I put up the thing on Threads, like, we're going live, not afraid of it, whatever. This person wrote, this is what your lies about genocide have caused. Talk about that. They were just globalizing the infatada like you support in your show, Jimmy. So that's their response. And I wrote, no lies about the genocide, but I'll talk about it if you call in, bitch. And they said, so you can lie about Jews with impunity and fundraise off those lies? No, thank you. And I wrote, definitely don't miss the show because I'm going to use your threads to fundraise everybody. So everyone who would like to specifically call out this caller who is a genocide apologist, who apparently I can't call in because you'll make money off of my call. Please, if you have the extra, go ahead and super chat $5 right now. And let's and keep in mind, while this is on my channel, I don't get most of the money you guys donate. I pay everybody here. We're on profit share. It's according to labor, number of appearances, all the stuff people put in. We have a producer today. They'll get a piece. So please don't take this as like I'm saying give me $5, which after YouTube takes their cut is more like $3.50 anyway. Give the line $5 right now if you want to show this person who constantly harasses myself and Forrest that their whole, because I actually wrote after that, don't miss the show though, I'm going to use your thread to fundraise anyway. They say use this one, thank you Untitled Final V2 this version for being the first $5. And it was showing that the alleged shooter who murdered and injured innocent Catholic children in Minneapolis reportedly shared videos with weapons covered in anti-Semitic messages, including the 6 million wasn't enough. They also had I suppose you would call it anti-Mexican labor messages on there. They are very much the MAGA brand of a right-wing Nazi. And so I think it's funny when people share details that it's literally like, hey, guy, this actually hurts your point because you are sharing how we can be confident that this guy is that this person was from the right wing of everything. And I will say, I've already called out people who are being stupid on our end too, who are like, they weren't even trans. Look at this article of what the person said in there. And it's like, okay, they describe not wanting to be a trans woman anymore, but the following paragraph is them describing gender fluidity. So let's not make it easy for the right wing as though they think that there is any difference. And by the way, some gender fluid people still use the term trans. So let's not shy away from the actual fight we need to be having here and point out things like what is more likely to have radicalized this person with the Nazi propaganda, the uprising of radical right-wing ideology, or having been trans and having been, well, seemingly is trans, but was detransitioning from being a woman all the time, but did keep their name changed, said they weren't ready to commit to the haircut yet because they weren't ready to lose everything, and then described gender fluid. I just have a feeling these aren't related, and you can look at the stats at how many trans people I don't understand that call. How many trans people commit mass shootings versus how many, like if you're going to, by the way, not just put people in camps, like you were saying, you have a lot of people saying disarm all trans people and trying to turn that into disarm all liberals, which I guess at least we're safe, or I am. I guess between trans and liberal, you're only not one of those two things. I, however, am neither trans nor liberal, so I guess I'm fine. But yeah, it is funny how quickly they show they do not believe in the Second Amendment. But anyway, to this person who is obsessed, I believe their name is Jose, who is too scared to call in. At least they're on Threads. It's Jose, because they don't want to make us money. Well, thank you to Quantum Chaos, who said blood for the blood god, content for the content god, Molotov surprise, free Palestine, Virgil DeCommon. Thank you, Isla Ursus. Thank you, Min, Falcon, DJD, Liz Chris. Thank you, Liz Chris. Mr. Boricua. The Mira said coward threader can't call because the bitchness is too powerful. Damn right. Thank you, Stein Jarl, Divine LeBear, Dustin Javiden, I hope. Palestine is a genocide. Release the Epstein files. Hell yes on both of those.
True.
Overly polite rebel. I want to show that person who harasses Jimmy and Forrest. See, thank you very much. Hashtag dissect the boy. It's an inside joke. Little Fluffy Cloud and Ash Glitch. Sinners Unite. Absolutely. This show is calling it now, shortened to CIN. We here are all sinners. So as we now jump to calls, again, I am not trying to in any way emphasize that the children dying in another mass shooting, regardless of any ideology or whatever, is still tragic and a horrible thing. And to the person on Threads who said I was justifying children, that's just, again, like some people are just terrible at reading comprehension. So I don't know what to do for you if you're going to be that demonstrably redacted. But we will go ahead and move into calls and just say, obviously, like, I'm not going to be performative and I can't know what those parents are going through. It's obviously fucking horrible. Doesn't matter if those kids were Catholic or MAGA or anything. Children don't deserve that fucking shit. I no more agree with the ideology of the Islamic people in Palestine who have children than I do of Catholics, and would defend the genocide of either of them. We shouldn't be letting Catholic children die. We shouldn't be letting Palestinian children die because other people are violent, war-thirsty, capitalism-protecting assholes. So now from there, we go on to our first call. Unless, Lux, did you have anything you wanted to add on to that?
Not really. I already had to spend the entire last show like talking about this, so I'm a little bit, I guess, drained. I'll talk about it if a caller calls in, but I don't have anything to add right this moment.
Numbers on the screen. We're ready to take any of you who think that you can debunk any of our points. But in the meantime, let's talk to David in North Carolina. David in North Carolina, you are on the line with Luxander and Jimmy, wanting to talk not about this specific issue. We may, but I suppose that's okay. It looks like you want to talk about the crime reduction in DC.
Hello.
Hello, David. Can you hear us? David, do you hear me? Hang on. Sorry, David, you should hear us now.
Yes, I can hear you. Yep, just fine.
Excellent. Sorry about that. That was a weird setting. Well, we're going to restart that call, so it's easy. So, David in North Carolina, you are on the line with Luxander and Jimmy, and you are calling in to talk about the crime in DC that Trump is taking care of. I assume you don't particularly want to engage on the topic of the day, or do you want to hit that, or just stick to the crime in DC thing? I'm not even sure what the topic of the day is. You guys just came in my stream somehow, so I'm getting a lot of these streams from like anti-Trump people all of a sudden, and it's kind of weird. I guess you guys are about 9 months too late, but I mean you're changing minds for sure. But I mean Trump's not running for office again, so I mean I guess you kind of
too little,
You
too
should
late.
tell
But yeah,
him that.
I'll just stick to the DC crime right now. We'll kind of see how it goes.
Do you say Trump will or won't be running for office again?
Trump will not run for office. So anyone that mentions that he's running for office just
Well, you should
either
tell
right
him
or
that
left is just
because he seems to think he's going to. He's got a wall of hats that say Trump 2028 and 4 more years on it. He certainly thinks he's running for another.
He's doing that to trigger the people with Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay, what about Steve Bannon, who Steve Bannon projects in the future all kinds of things that happen, and they tend to happen. I mean, this was the guy the day before January 6th basically told us January 6th is about to happen. It's not going to be the way you think it is. Very much broadcasting that it was going to be a bigger deal. And Steve Bannon, who ran his first campaign, reckons they have found legal loopholes to make their way there. Dave, the only reason I agree with you that he's not going to run is because I don't think his body will be animated by then.
I agree. I mean, he is, he's a human being and he's aging forward as we all are. So, I mean, I'm not even sure what his age is right now, but let's say, he does run, which he is absolutely unequivocally not. But let's just say for all intents and purposes, just for argument's sake, that he does run. How old will he be in, 5 years or 9 years, whatever case, 8 years, sorry. So he's got 3 years left and then 4 more years.
Okay,
7 years, how old would he be? I don't know.
So you'll acknowledge that the main
91.
reason that you believe he won't is because you don't think he will be physically capable. But if he finds himself physically capable, do you think he intends to try?
I just don't see it. I think Trump is winning a game. Politics is a sport, and Trump is winning.
I think I think that I would have probably been that way maybe in 2020, certainly in 2016, that it was all inflammatory. And then he started promising things on the campaign trail that he did end up doing. Basically promising that he would be a dictator for a day. And then the only lie there was that it was only for a day. He's extended it past. But moving on from there, you want to talk about, we just fundamentally disagree. There's no point in beating this to death, whether or not we agree he will or won't.
I agree. I think it's, yeah. But like I said, I think, so just to show you how much of a Trump supporter I am, I'm actually the person that coined the acronym MAGA, in 2015. Make America Great Again, believe it or not, was not a new term. It was actually used by Ronald Reagan in the 80s. And they started saying Make America Great Again during Trump's campaign. I was seeing it on one of the threads. And I was like, that's interesting. MAGA, and I put it in the thread, and that was the first time MAGA was used. So I'm actually the creator of MAGA.
You believe you're the origin of calling it MAGA, and that the people who used it after, did they independently come up with it, or do you believe you just think that you did it first, but many people came up with it?
I was the first one to use MAGA in an internet thread, and as soon as I wrote it, I mean, it just took off like wildfire. I mean, it was just insane. I didn't think much of it.
Well, David, we now know what you think of yourself. Let's hear what you think about Trump.
Yeah. All right. So Trump, I think right now, Trump, again, politics, believe it or not, I know, it's an emotional thing because we have our, things that we agree with, don't agree with, so on and so forth. But by and large, Trump is not a politician. He is not an ideologue. He is a pragmatist. And he understands that politics is a sport. It's a brutal sport. And he is winning. He's winning by taking things like in Washington, D.C., crime, right? So Trump brought in the National Guard to take crime down. And in the last 14 days, this is from the mayor of D.C. She says that burglary or car theft is down in the last 14 days 82%. That's from the mayor that's not from Trump. That's from the mayor of D.C. Now, the left side will say, well, by and large, crime has been down over the last year, 33%. But what people don't realize is that, let's say in Chicago, crime is down, murders is down in Chicago.
Yeah.
30%. Okay. That's down from 1,000. So they went from 1,000 to 600.
Let's go. Hey, David, let me ask you a question. I'm going to go with an extreme example so you don't have to point out, obviously, that's crazy. Right? It's going to be crazy on purpose, but we're going to do something with it. Who as far as we have for stats, this is unrelated to the DC thing, but it will come back. So please engage it. As far as we have for stats, who is the most likely to beat their partner in like a domestic violence situation? Like what group of people? Let's just go with men or women.
I would say, based on what you kind of sound like you're setting me up, but let's just say women.
Well, no,
I don't
let's
think
not
women
say
are as
women. Let's go with
effective
the.
as men.
I said
It's
according to
obviously
stats, it is men, and
It's
not to
men.
mention, and we'll even add a level of like with the potential to do bodily harm that could be extreme, like might kill them, might disable them, might whatever else, going to put somebody in the hospital. It's clearly men. So if we put a member of the military in every house where there is a couple that one of the people is a man, and all they are there to do is make sure whether or not that person has a history of crime or not, they're just there to make sure no domestic violence happens. Would domestic violence plummet to almost 0% in that hypothetical?
Yes.
Absolutely would. So is that a good idea?
It's not justified by the numbers. If there were we're talking about 1,000
What do you mean?
people being killed.
You have way more people. Excuse me. Way more people are affected by domestic violence than are murdered every year. Okay, way more. So would you advocate for putting a member of the military? How about it doesn't have to actually be in your home, just patrols every neighborhood, a little cluster of the military patrolling every neighborhood to get rid of domestic violence. And then there goes your murder rate too. They knock on your door, they're allowed to walk in, don't need any warrants. They can just come in when they feel like checking on it. How do you feel about that idea, David? Again, I know it's extreme, so just engage and I'll bring it back.
So what you're doing, you're diverting away from the point.
No, I will bring it back. I told you.
All you have to do is say Trump is doing a great job by bringing the murder rate down in D.C. almost immediately.
No, I don't have to. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that.
Got a touchdown.
David, I set you up for success by telling you I know I'm going to make an extreme example. Engage the question, and it will seem. And it will seem like a diversion. I will bring it back. And if you would engage it, it will make sense to you, and we will have a very good, comprehensive conversation. So would you advocate for all neighborhoods to have a military unit that can come in your house unannounced, no warrants, anything, because that would reduce murder in every neighborhood and domestic violence? Would you or would you not?
It would be dependent upon the murder rates in that particular community.
So wait. So you would do it.
It would all be based upon the murder rates or the crime statistics in that community.
How about domestic violence rates? Would it be based on domestic violence rates?
How do you predict that? How do you predict it?
How
do you monitor that?
We have police statistics on domestic violence.
Okay, if you have a high crime rate, it's all crime. It's all under the crime umbrella. So let's say it's all.
So to be clear, you would in some scenarios say a police force without a need for a warrant who can enter your house just to make sure things are okay.
No,
if you are in an area with a high murder rate.
Not into your home, no, but in the community, yes. So
this is the point I'm making, and where it becomes relevant, and where you and I are going to. I don't actually care whether or not the amount of murders has gone down, the amount of car theft has gone down, if you cannot show that rights are not also being violated. Because David, what we just established, what we just established is even if it would stop murders, even if it would stop domestic violence, which at least I went with crimes that harm people, you went with crimes that are property, as though property and people have some equivalence, like vandalizing cars. Murder. No, you also talked about vandalizing vehicles, vehicle theft and vandalization.
I said that only because the liberal mayor of D.C. said that. But Trump said murders are down by 30%.
And it was important enough for you to repeat. It's important enough for you to repeat.
I'm sorry.
So the point is, even if it is murder, there has to be a limit to which the amount of murders happening, how many rights am I willing to give up, and how much policing am I willing to see?
It depends on how much murdering is being done.
Yes, no kidding. And right now, when you look at the actual statistics, you don't actually find that they are stopping a lot of murders. They haven't even exceeded the number of the space of time that there have been no murders as from earlier in the year. But what you do see is an increasing of policing brown neighborhoods, stopping people. Hang on.
There's been 100 murders in D.C. this year.
Stopping people from
down
looking
from 120
illegal.
Last year.
Stopping people from who look like they might be here illegal. And stopping people for ridiculous,
I'm not sure
silly
where you get
offenses.
that information from,
like, buddy, it's all over. You can watch the videos of a lot of it. Recently, I watched a video.
What I know is all over. We're arguing over crime.
You can't stop.
So you all are the pro crime. You're pro crime. That's
I haven't said have no police. David, you need to stop.
But your
David,
argument is pro-crime.
David,
That's
you
why I
don't get
said
to
it's
tell me.
sport.
David, you don't
Trump
get to interrupt me. Okay, I'm muting you because you don't know how to do this. If you want to talk about what your position is, you can. You don't get to interrupt me and then tell me what my position is. I haven't said we can't have anything to regulate crime, prevent crime, respond to crime. But what I am not for, because I also am familiar with the history of fascist uprising, is militarizing a police force and normalizing the idea and the image of seeing the military on the streets. Because that's what we're actually dealing with. And by the way, your party used to be against that also. Your party used to be against the overextension and use of the government to monitor its citizens. So is it good if you can do crime reduction in a way that does not violate the rights of people? Sure. Maybe we should start, though, by taking a look at our criminal code, which makes a lot of things criminal that shouldn't be, so that they can actually put these people into a system that should be criminal, like the current slave prison system, because slavery never left America. We just changed forms. The fact that we have for-profit prisons, so we actually have a monetary incentivized to put more people in prison. Right now, you are sitting and going at the, we are getting a little bit of a murder reduction. Also, we don't know whether this is temporary or not, or how long this can be sustained. We certainly don't have a big enough military to do this everywhere. I'm ignoring the statistics that these are just the qualities of large cities, and that if we had less income inequality, it would go away. Dave has ran. I was going to unmute Dave and let him in. But you're going to ignore all of those things and instead just yell and tell me what my position is when you don't fucking know what my position is. So you, any other caller wants to call in, you are welcome to present your side and I will present my side. I need not have you tell me what my side is. I'm more than capable of articulating it by myself. Oh, goodness sakes.
That was fun. Yeah, it's really funny when they just cannot let you get a word in.
Right. Right. And if he was presenting his side back, I would have likely let him in. I would have even let some of the interruptions go, but I'm not going to let somebody interrupt me to lie about what my position is. And the thing that I find is very telling is I don't have to lie about their positions to make them obviously terrible. You literally have to change mine so that you can go like, oh, well, yours that's like rooted in reason, logic, humanism, and empathy. What if I say you're advocating for anti-Semitism like the asshole on Threads? What if I say instead that you're trying to profit off of the death of children and that you like the children being dead like another person on Threads? If your side is so strong, why do you have to lie to make your points? Why must it rely on dishonesty and hyperbole to make your points? So anyway, someone
in the chat pointed out too that this guy just said that we are pro-crime and he voted for a convicted felon.
Yeah, you want to know one of the worst crime days that DC ever has had the number of crimes in a single day? I think you know what it is because Donald Trump had to pardon thousands of people for it. You want to talk about being the pro-crime people and talking about your worry about crime in DC. Donald Trump even pardoned the people who were trying to execute his vice president. What leg do you think you have to stand on? But y'all, that phone number's there. We've got a call screening. We'll find out what they're calling in on. But we've got more. You people who are ready. And I'll tell you what I mean by you people. You MAGA, radical, Constitution hating, America abusing people. Because you know what? The other thing I would say is MAGA hates America. And that should be a claim in the future that we put on the screen. Because genuinely, MAGA is an anti-American movement. Is something happening? I'm seeing these calls get into the screen and then they're leaving.
Oh, weird.
Let me ask the screener what's happening. Are they like calling, yelling, thinking the screener can do anything for them? And then just rage quitting? Wow. I did some wild shit with my keyboard there.
Yeah, your typos went crazy for a second there.
That was I looked up as I was writing the last half.
Can I just say something funny to fill a moment of airtime?
Absolutely.
My partner just texted me and said, it's funny. My least favorite animal overall is still my first choice to have sex with.
Oh, got it.
What a weirdo.
Ocelots.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I see it. I see the appeal.
Ocelot's a terrible animal, but very sexy, so I get it.
Yep. I mean, Matt Savage, call in. I mean, Biden pardoned his kids, so call in. What do you think I'm going to say? And it was right of him to do that. But did he even pardon all of his kids? I know he pardoned Hunter and he pardoned, I think, his sister. What do you think? Whatever you think my response is going to be, I'm not going to say it now. You're in the chat being a very brave keyboard warrior. That phone number is on the screen, 33654-32101. Call in. Let's talk about the Biden thing. Let's talk about, is Biden pro-crime? Let's talk about, as long as you're going to then sit here and go, by the way, what do you think that would be as a defense? Well, Biden pardoned his kids. Okay, so you're admitting that you just think like it's only wrong if the other side does it. And your justification for the wrong on your side is that another side did what you think is wrong. But I love when people think like, I almost don't want to give it away. It might stop them from calling. Do you think I'm a Biden guy?
Yeah. Did you think that we were fans of his? Cause yeah, we're both to the left of Biden. We both don't like that guy. I see some of you in the chat being transphobic. Call in. I'm trans. Let's throw down.
We're so ready.
I'm so ready. I just got off of another show where we were talking about trans rights, and now I'm like, listen, I will bring you to the cleaners, but I'll let you try first.
I would like to point out that one of the things, can I say one of the terms that was used? Would you be?
I don't care.
In the chat, they said that they accused you of cross-dressing. I believe you are wearing a tank top that is not...
And basketball shorts.
Is not, right. Neither of those are clearly male or female attire, even according to conservatives. You have long hair, which maybe they're presuming to know you're assigned at birth, but I have long hair.
My hair is half short and half long. I have so much short hair too.
I would like that person to call in and defend only the point that Luxander is cross-dressing, because I don't get it. I just don't get it. I think
they're cowards though.
Are these calls getting screened? I see that there are some waiting. Hang on one sec.
Also, my husband is a cis man whose hair is like longer than mine. So
yeah, I just want to know what the justification is. Let me go check on the screener real quick because I just see them not moving. Yeah, you talk. I often change the frame, but in the clips it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna. You can just look at my empty chair.
Cool. Chat. We had a really good time on Takis today. I feel like we were struggling because of this shooting, and the trans community is particularly affected by it, and the rhetoric has increased. Like the rhetoric against trans people has gotten more intense in the last day or two. But we ended up having a really nice show. And part of the thing is that we are trying to focus on well-being for ourselves. So, even while we have fun having these conversations, and we are trying to change people's minds and put out good information on all of our shows. But part of it too is just making sure that people know they have a place to come and hang out. And like Takis, a lot of the time we have trans people coming in saying like, this has been a supportive environment. And yeah, it's just been, we ended up having a pretty nice show. We had some laughs there at the end, and it wasn't too bad. Welcome back. Bienvenidos.
Yes, those waiting on hold, the screen, we only have one screener, so they're getting one at a time. So do hold on. We've got a few people. Yeah. That number again, 33654-32101. If you think you can call and throw down. And again, all I want is you to present your points and be honest. And don't try and get ahead and go, see what you're trying to do. If I already tell you in advance, I unpoisoned the well for you to try and make it easier for you, then following is going to be extreme. It's going to make a broader point, which we will then what is the word?
Narrow it down.
Zoom in on. Yeah, we'll narrow down. We'll narrow in on. It's going to make a broader point, but we'll bring it together like a family. All right, here. Let's go ahead and for the moment, we're going to talk to. Give me. I've got to run two. I'm going to try and do this at the same time so that it looks good. I think we're talking to Gregory in Missouri. Gregory in Missouri, you are on the line with Luxander and Jimmy. Before we get started on the it wasn't right for Biden to pardon his kid, I want to ask, which side of the political spectrum are you coming at this from?
In the middle. I'm looking at both sides.
You're a moderate yourself. You're not a MAGA Republican. You're not a conservative. You're not a liberal. You're saying you're a moderate. You're dead center.
I'm a moderate. Yes, sir. I look at all views.
Great.
And so then I make my decisions.
And your point is that Biden should not have pardoned his son, right?
No, he shouldn't have.
Okay. And what was his reasoning to pardon him?
Well, I don't even think he knows he did it, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, let's say he did do it. Let's say he did do it. What do we understand was his reasoning? Because that has been published.
Well, I know he's going to say because it's his kid, but my point would be this, sir. When Trump was in office, everyone on the mass media said Trump's going to do it. If he does it, he's wrong.
Yep.
For the same thing. So you can't have two wrongs mean a right.
I agree. Now, can you answer my?
If the left's going to say the same thing, if the left side's going to say the same thing with Trump, then the same thing should have been done with Hunter.
So, Gregory, let me just get this out of the way. I don't think the president should have the ability to pardon anybody. So, whatever lecture you're trying to give me, it's falling on deaf ears. But now,
I'm not trying to lecture you, sir.
I got you, Gregory.
Sir, I wasn't trying to lecture you. You asked my opinion, and I gave you my opinion. I'm not lecturing you.
Okay, great. Whatever your problem is with the word lecture, that's fine. Gregory, now, when it comes to the reasoning, you said because it's his kid, what specifically was he worried about?
He's worried about his son going to jail. I can understand that being a father.
Right. But was it just broadly that he was worried about his kid going to jail, or was there a specific reason that didn't have to do with whether or not his kid actually committed a crime worthy of going to jail, but some other reason? I'll give you a hint. It was the same reason he did then. I think it was his sister and another family member. What reason did they give for the other pardons?
There's accusations of charged crimes were committed, and he was afraid his family was going to go to jail.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what his reasoning was, since apparently you don't know what it was. And all I want to know is...
Then I have a question for you.
Great. And again, I'm not defending that he did pardon, for the record. But you can ask your question after. The reasoning was that Donald Trump on the campaign trail and other individuals like Matt Gaetz and others that they were worried would become attorney general had been describing that they were going to weaponize the Justice Department when they got back into power, and that they would be, for political reasons, going after members of Biden's family and the like. Are you aware that that was the reasoning given? That wouldn't have actually, in other words, an argument that wouldn't be dependent on whether or not any of them had actually committed a crime, that they would be targeted because of their name and because Donald Trump promised retribution on the campaign trail?
That was said. Yes, it was. I'll agree with that one.
And can you dispute that that reasoning is correct, that Donald Trump did describe seeking retribution and that it would be reasonable for people who oppose Donald Trump to assume they are going to be targeted by him?
Donald Trump said if they committed crimes, then they would be held accountable.
No, that's not what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump spoke much more broadly, and Donald Trump has already proven that he has gone after people who have committed no crimes while trying to make up things that make it sound like crimes.
Now, my question for you, sir, is, does two rights make a wrong?
I don't think Biden should have had the power in the first place to do it. The point that I am making is the actual reasoning behind it is not the same as the reasoning given when Trump was trying to get out of crimes he actually did commit, that we have the recordings of, versus the people. The reasoning wasn't about crimes actually committed, but political targeting. Now, you can argue that everything done to Trump was also political targeting. The evidence won't come down on your side on all of that. But as far as the reasoning given, all I am demonstrating is that what you were equivocating is not equal because the reasoning was different.
Both sides have done it.
Okay, well, Donald Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers that included people who supported him in the past. He also was impeached, but because you need a larger majority in the Senate, he was able to get by on it. So I don't...
Are we talking about the impeachments?
Which one would you like to talk about?
Well, those don't even matter no more because he's acquitted. So you can't even bring those up no more.
Yes, I can bring them up anytime I want. I heard Donald Trump. Excuse me. Yes, I can. Gregory. Gregory. Hey, Gregory, watch me do it, Gregory. Hey, Gregory. Donald Trump committed crimes and he got by because the Republicans are a pro-crime party and don't care that he committed the crimes. So his impeachment, which did succeed, failed to indict him.
Let's see. It's kind of like the same thing with Clinton when he got impeached.
For a blowjob? By the way, I would have actually impeached Clinton. I would have impeached, I would have impeached and removed him for being a sexual predator for that, but that wasn't the justification. And other things. By the way, I would have also... Great. Bill Clinton. No, you can't bring up Bill Clinton because he was acquitted. And yet I say that man should have gone down fucking hard because he's a sexual predator. I would have gotten rid of George W. Bush. I would have gotten rid of George W. Bush. I would have gotten rid of Biden. And I'm going to really blow your mind. I would have gotten rid of Obama because they're all fucking war criminals.
This is one we completely agree with.
Great. Get rid of Donald Trump. He's also a war criminal and he's a domestic criminal. All the presidents need to have be in prison.
Agreeing with this, Mr. Jimmy.
So you do believe Trump belongs in prison?
No, I don't.
I do. For all the reasons I just gave for the other presidents, they absolutely...
I disagree with you.
Was Obama a war criminal?
I would say on some points, yeah, he did cross the line just like Bush did.
Doing what? What was the reason he crossed the line?
I served under Obama. I know things that Obama ordered us to do. I know what happened.
Yeah, no shit. But actually, I'm less worried about what they ordered you to do, what they ordered robots to do. Obama was a war criminal and Donald Trump has done all the same war crimes, including in his first term, overseeing other genocides besides just the Gaza one.
What genocide did he, on the first one, what genocide was that?
Yemen.
Yemen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can talk about Obama with all the drone strikes that was...
Sure, we can keep whatabouting, but I've already said put Obama in prison. Lock the key. Do not let him out. I don't care how charming he is.
Yeah.
So why are you whatabouting if you agree?
You agree about Obama, but you're saying that Trump is exempt. Like that seems to be what you're saying. You think that Obama should be...
I'm not talking... Who's this female? I don't know who this is. I'm not talking to her.
Yes, you are.
Okay,
you are talking to them.
I'm on the screen.
You are talking to them. Yes, you are.
When you were introduced to the show, he said, hey, you're live with Luxander and Jimmy. My name is Luxander. If you'd like me to lower my voice in order to respect my opinions, I'm fully capable of doing that for you. My point here is that if you're going to say, if you're going to say that Obama should go to prison for war crimes, or if you agree with us that he does war crimes, Trump also does those things. So you are presenting an ideologically inconsistent position if you think that one was bad but the other isn't for no reason.
Well, that's not what I said. I said if they did it, they all should go. They all should go.
I agree. I agree. Okay. They all should go. And right now, Donald Trump is the active president, an active war criminal. So that's why that's the task at hand.
I got one question to ask the panel.
Sure, I've got a question for you.
Nancy's talking. I'm sorry.
Greg, my question for you is why did you lie about being a moderate down the middle when you are clearly a MAGA? You are a cult, Kool-Aid drinking.
Don't disrespect me.
I will. You are a disrespectful person.
If I was a MAGA, then I would not say that Trump needs to go if he committed crimes. If anyone committed a crime, they need to go.
Except for that, you have said that Donald Trump didn't commit crimes and therefore shouldn't be in prison when you have seen him commit the crimes.
What crime did he commit? That's what I'm asking you.
We've already covered war crimes. So when we're talking about why Obama should go, we also know he has been, excuse me, We also know he has been convicted of other crimes. We know that he has skirted getting trials for crimes that we have all election fraud. How about the election fraud he tried to commit in 2020 in Georgia that I don't have to wait on the court for my own opinion. You can clearly evaluate those. He tried to commit election fraud and he tried to steal the election, but by becoming president. What? So what? Obama has no conviction. Excuse me, Gregory, are you the biggest? Can you not remember things you said 20 seconds ago? Obama has no convictions. You agree he deserves to go to prison because you saw the crimes with your own eyes. Gregory, chill. Gregory, you already have made the conclusion that Obama did it because you saw it for yourself. I'm making the conclusion Trump should go to prison because I saw it for myself.
Have you seen it firsthand, sir?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
So you've been over in the AO, area operations. You've seen the crimes that
I'm sorry,
done.
you are moving the goalpost. You asked whether I have witnessed his crimes, and I have. You don't get to decide what witnessing the crimes means.
Have you actually witnessed these crimes?
Yes.
So you've been over in Gaza and you saw exactly what Trump's
Excuse me,
done.
you are now moving the goalpost again.
No, I'm not.
Yes, I have witnessed the crimes. You don't then get to isolate it myopically to witnessing the crime equals. Which one would you like? The election fraud we all have. You can go and watch the videos right now.
Tell me which one's he done. Tell me.
I just said it. What did I just say, Gregory? Prove you're listening. What crime did I just tell you he committed that we can go and watch the tapes of him committing it?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Which crime did I literally just say?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you to repeat it.
Yeah, for the third time. And we've gone through multiple. So you aren't listening and you are a Kool-Aid drinking MAGA liar. You are not a moderate.
Now, why are you calling me names? I haven't insulted you, sir.
I don't care. Insult me. I give a fuck. By the way, you literally tried to insult my co-host a moment ago.
Oh, you really don't want me to insult you, young man.
Go for it.
You really don't.
Young man. Thank you for the you've gone with a compliment. I don't think you recognize how old I fucking am. Go ahead, Gregory. Take your best shot.
Looking, you're about 30. That's about what you are.
I'm not 30. Well done. I can run for president, Gregory. Did you know that? Maybe I will just to trigger you. I can run for president, Gregory. You are a bad cookie. You are a bad judge. Cookie, you are a bad judge of virtually everything you have presented so far. I give a shit.
I've lived a lot longer. I've seen a lot more than you have.
And my dad's more than twice the age of me and still falls for Mormonism.
I don't care we're not talking about age means don't bring your dad wisdom? In this conversation.
Do you think age means wisdom?
Your daddy going to save you on this.
Hey, Gregory. Oh, my daddy has no interest in saving me. Gregory, all you have proven is that age did not make you wiser. First-hand experience apparently didn't make you wiser.
You're rude. You're impolite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't listen to other people's views.
Oh, I don't. Gregory, what crime did I list 3 times after you asked what crime did he commit? Go for it.
You tell me.
I don't listen, but I've
been practicing law enforcement for over 30 years.
Gregory, I give a shit. Okay, great. You've been a cop and I'm going to bet you're not, quote unquote, one of the good ones. Gregory, you're telling me I don't listen when you can't name the answer I gave you 3 times when you asked for it.
Let me ask you a question.
No.
I'm not one of the good ones. I have one question for you, sir.
Go for it.
If it came down to you saving my life, would you save my life?
Against what? Are you beating somebody to death?
If someone was going to kill me right now in front of you, would you save me?
Why are they killing you? If it's an unjust killing, absolutely.
Yes or no?
If it's an unjust killing, absolutely.
If someone's going to try to take my life,
if somebody was taking your life because you were executing Palestinians in the street for no other reason, then I wouldn't.
Asking you, no. If someone was going to harm me maliciously and take my life, would you save my life?
Obviously.
With not knowing me.
Gregory, these aren't hard questions. Of course I would.
Okay. Because for you, it'd be no questions asked. I would give my life before you.
Great. What religion are you?
I'm a Baptist, but I'm not a practiced Baptist.
Cool. So in your religion, there are people you shouldn't do that for, or at least historically you shouldn't have. As a secular humanist, there aren't really exceptions. If I did walk away from almost anybody, it would mean I failed as a humanist.
If somebody's getting ready to be maliciously killed, I would save their life, even a criminal.
Great, me too.
If they were not doing anything wrong, I would protect them.
Great, me too.
With my life.
Great, me too. Now can we get back to the fact that
Do you think that makes you an exceptional person?
Yeah,
Well, he said I was one of the bad cops, ma'am. So I'm just bringing up a point. I'm not.
Oh, being a bad cop is not upon the basis of whether or not you would save somebody's life who is being maliciously attacked. There are cops who have never killed a single person and have prevented other people from killing who are still bad.
And you should thank those officers.
I don't.
Bless them
I absolutely
to
don't.
go through that.
I won't. I don't, and I won't. I will.
So you want cops to kill people?
No, I want cops to do. I want cops to do their job, and their thanks for their job is the paycheck they get.
Never had to take someone's life and in their duties. That should be praised.
What did I just say in response to your assertion?
I heard you wasn't going to praise them.
What? No. What did I just say? The sentence before you made an assertion about me. What did I say? Because then you tried to reframe it. So what did I actually say?
You said that you would protect me or anybody else.
No, I'm talking about just a moment ago. You made an assertion. I responded to it. You started talking again. No, my point is that you're here whining that nobody is listening when you can't repeat back anything I'm saying.
Young man, I'm not whining.
Oh, you whined multiple times.
With you and you turned it all completely around to an argument.
I don't think you can name 3 of my points.
You got viewers.
Yeah.
I mean,
thank you. Gregory, thank you so much for the viewers.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. You have a good day.
You're so welcome, Gregory.
Love you.
Yeah, love you, buddy.
Guys, you should hit the like button right now. Do it right now.
You call me, Gregory. I'll get him. I'll get him. Depending on why. Depending on why. All you have to do is just be honest. And again, like 2 callers in a row. Don't tell me what my points are. I don't need it.
Bro, who is this female? I'm just like reeling.
Who is this female?
I'm like, I don't know.
It's what musical are you writing? Who is this female talking to me? They look like a dude, but I just cannot see. How are they even debating?
Did you not see what you were calling into? Like, I'm on the screen. I've been here the whole time. I'm pretty sure I've been here the whole time.
I think Gregory might have been on his period. All right, moving on. I know somebody's going to be mad about it. It's fun to emasculate cis men. Chill the fuck out.
Chill out, y'all.
Chill, dog. Okay. Alex in Texas, you're calling, you are MAGA. You want to talk about trans people in sports. So before we get to that, because there is a topic kind of the day here, will you acknowledge before that no part of what happened in Minnesota has anything to do with the shooter being trans, and that their political ideology doesn't actually even line up with what you would typically expect a person progressive enough to accept trans identities to do?
Whoa, that was a loaded question. I'm not really good at listening to... I'm just kidding. I personally think that it was a hate crime.
Why is that?
Because trans people, they hate Christians with a passion, Catholics, whatever. And
that's weird, because I know trans Christians. So wait. Specifically, hang on. I want to make sure we're getting it correct. Alex, you're saying it is a hate crime of a trans person targeting on the basis of that they are trans. They wanted to target a group that trans people hate. And you don't believe that the anti-Semitic, anti-Mexican sentiments on their guns would make, because I agree it was a hate crime. But I don't agree that it's a trans against Catholics thing. But you believe that it was a trans person politically motivated to harm anti-trans people, even after reading, I assume you've read their manifesto, right?
I have not.
Oh, weird. Wait. So you're ready to call it a hate crime, even though there's a manifesto out there? You already have come to a conclusion, even though the evidence of your conclusion could be made or broken by their own manifesto?
Yeah, but that goes both ways, right? So if
I did read it.
Is wrong, please tell me why. Tell me why.
I did read it.
What was in the manifesto?
That they are tired of being trans, and certainly tired of being a trans woman. They do still have a level of gender fluidity, but they have a lot of right-wing style hatred, extreme right-wing style hatred, and that's why they covered their guns.
Elaborate on that.
I'm literally hatred? In the middle of doing that. Thank you so much for teeing me up more. Their guns were covered in words that included Mexican sentiments and anti-Semitic sentiments, which are things associated with the extreme right.
Okay, so for you to take anything like anti-Semitic or anti-Hispanic and just slap it on the right, just
is that what I
fair,
said?
because I could
is that what I said?
I could literally do the same thing for the left.
Go ahead.
There's
try.
no stats or anything to back your claim.
Go ahead and try.
It's not a good claim to make.
Go ahead and try. Let's find out if there's no stats. Let's find out if Jimmy and Lux have brought stats to play.
Okay, so you're trying to argue that statistically, somehow hating Mexicans is a right-wing trait.
That it is more typically associated with right-wing extremism because of the MAGA anti-immigrant sentiment. And right now we are actually in a country that is quite non-humanely and in many cases illegally targeting brown people. And the types of, and by the way, when we talk about stats, crimes motivated by white supremacy is the largest number of hate crimes. And as far as groups that perpetuate crimes, that FBI and CIA, even under the new guys, even under Trump's administration, has said they are the biggest problems time and time again. So yes, it is a typically associated with right-wing fascist ideology and promoted by the anti-immigrant sentiment of MAGA.
Okay, yeah, I just find it funny how your brain works, how you have someone that was a member of your trans community that associated themselves with the left, and then when they
they didn't associate themselves with the left. Excuse me. They supported Republican candidates, so no, they did not associate themselves with the left. Being trans has nothing to do with it.
How do you know that you're reported?
Again,
because I heard them say it with their own mouth, my dude.
Yes,
they were supporting like right-wing content creators and writing right-wing messages all over their guns and stuff, like right-wing messages. How many leftist people or left-leaning or liberal people have you heard say 6 million wasn't enough?
So I could say... No.
I want you to answer that question right now, Alex. You're going to try to draw a false conflation between right-wing and left-wing. How many left-wingers have you heard say 6 million wasn't enough?
This is besides the point. You're trying
No, it's fucking not, Alex. No, it's fucking not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Alex,
is.
Alex.
The point
You are...
is the transgender... No, and then this is what you guys do. You laugh and you like we're talking.
Of course
about
I do.
This,
You're so bad at
over
this.
Here.
I don't know what to do. I'm laughing to avoiding crying at the sad realization that you vote. So I can only enjoy it. I can only enjoy listening to your ignorance as you debunk your own points by showing off your own hypocrisy.
Dude, I'll tell you why we voted. It's because the country was in a horrible freaking place and everybody wanted change.
Yeah.
Does everyone think like you guys are in this
we got it. And we got it.
Chamber of thinking that anyone votes for Donald Trump is just so stupid when in reality...
Oh, no. I don't think they're all stupid. I think some of you are evil.
That I would rather take that than Biden.
Alex. First of all, Biden didn't run for president in 2024. I know it's hard for your people to like keep track of recent things that happened. But second of all, Alex, I don't think I know, and he should have dropped out way sooner. And Kamala Harris should not have replaced him.
So you're wrong about that.
Excuse me? What am I wrong about?
Kamala did what?
And Kamala shouldn't have replaced. Biden should have dropped out sooner, and Kamala shouldn't have replaced him.
Yes, I agree. You didn't.
Yeah, no shit. And now, Alex, I want to point out, because I don't think you heard it because you were talking when I was talking. I do not, and I resent the accusation that I think all MAGA people are stupid, because I don't believe that. I think a good percentage of them aren't stupid, just evil.
Okay, but
guess which one I think you are.
And that's fine. But this is why I get so frustrated though, is because what were we talking about originally? What did you open this conversation with, and where are we now?
Whether or not being trans had anything to do with the shooter.
Yeah, so let's go back there.
Great.
You guys, someone who is trans, someone who is a beloved member of your community,
and your community,
and does some things that
and
you
your
don't
community,
like,
right
and
wing.
What do?
Wait, Alex.
Sticker on it.
Alex, they are right wing. They are self-proclaimed right wing. They supported Republican candidates.
Where are your stats?
First of all, when you're talking about an individual, it is called self-reporting. You can look at their social media and their manifesto and their guns. It is all over it. They supported Republican candidates.
Social media.
No shit, Alex.
In his manifesto,
no shit, Alex.
The right wing.
Alex, could you at least admit that the information, if it is out there, you've made no attempt to uncover it and therefore are speaking here ignorantly, basically saying, first educate me and then I'll figure out why I'm not changing my mind? You aren't even coming to a gunfight with a knife. You're coming to a gunfight with a fleshlight.
I'm not educated on it. You asked me about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, no, I haven't read his manifesto.
Good, then go read it. Go read it before you take a position.
Dude, my position, from what I know, is that any trans person I've ever talked to hates Christians with a passion. And yet I know trans Christians. To take it out on them than to go shoot up a church.
And yet I know trans Christians.
51% of trans people are Christian in America.
Right. I literally know trans Christians. By the way, I despise Christianity. It does not mean I hate Christians. In fact, I have some collaborations coming up with Christians who I like very much in the near future. So this whole thing of like, am I more likely because I despise Christianity to go massacre Christians?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You are already sitting here. No, Alex, you don't get to interrupt every time. The beginning of every sentence you have said so far has been interrupting. Sometimes you have to sit there and shut up and wait for your turn. Jesus Christ.
All right. Speak.
Oh, thank you. You couldn't even do it here, Alex. You think you can command me to speak?
I literally just waited for you
Alex,
to finish talking to tell you to speak.
You are embarrassing. You are if I was MAGA, I would literally be like, please let the host hang up on this guy because he is making us look even dumber. I just want, Alex, here's what I want to say as my final thought to you because you are useless.
No, don't go. Please, I'll be
Alex,
quiet. I just want to have a legit conversation.
As my final thought to you, I just want to say,
I'm being so respectful.
Of the two categories,
I just want to have a conversation.
Alex, of the two categories, all right, we'll try one more time. I just want to start by saying of the two categories, I don't think you're in the evil one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And even though I voted for Donald Trump, I have a bunch of gay people in my family.
Great. So, how do you feel about pedophiles?
I don't like them.
Can you believe that Bill Clinton was so close with Jeffrey Epstein and we just let that guy be president? Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah, but people didn't know that back then.
I know, but now we do know that the current president was literally his best friend. So why is that not fucked up?
It's still fucked up. Nobody's saying it isn't.
Would you get rid of Trump on the basis of his proximity to like the most prolific pedophile in modern history, pedophile trafficker in modern history? No, technically child trafficker. Somebody who traffics pedophiles could arguably be good if they're trafficking them to like the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I mean,
I haven't been this whole call.
I don't know.
Go on.
I don't know. I think realistically, you could find a lot of people on the Epstein list that a lot of people still don't know about.
Yeah, we should put them all in prison if they were pedophiles.
What'd you say?
We should at minimum put them all in prison if they were pedophiles.
Yeah, but how do you just throw them in prison with no evidence, though?
Oh, do we not have evidence? So do you think we don't have evidence?
I think that there's lots of evidence, actually.
Where is that evidence?
There's lots of evidence.
And who's protecting it?
Incriminating evidence.
Wait. Of the biggest pile of evidence that may exist, who appears to be protecting it?
Donald Trump.
The man you voted for. Isn't that crazy?
I was literally going to just let that pause and just
like comes out
marinate.
After he's already president. So what can you do?
Impeach him. Call your congressman and tell him. Call your congressman and tell him get that fucking pedophile protector at minimum. At minimum, he is protecting pedophiles. True or false? The world is better for pedophiles because Donald Trump is in it.
False. I don't understand.
How is that false? Wait. Is Ghislaine Maxwell a pedophile, or at the very minimum a pedophile corroborator?
A corroborator, yes.
And probably a pedophile herself. Like I mean, if you are getting the girls and present while they're being assaulted, are you not the pedophile because you didn't stick anything in them? Like that, is she any better than any pedophile? Is she not in the category of pedophiles?
No, she definitely is, but I
Great.
just don't
So
understand
what
where you're
happened?
going with this.
What recently happened to her? What happened to her as far as prisons go?
I don't know. She has yet to be sentenced, I believe.
Oh, no,
But I
no,
bet
no.
she's
She
in a
was
cushy
moved.
prison.
She was moved to a much more comfortable prison so that she would
That's what
have
I
her
just said, yep.
conversation with
I
the
guessed that
personal
without even doing.
with the personal attorney to Donald Trump, Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche and Donald Trump secured for her a more comfortable prison. So once again, do pedophiles have it better because Donald Trump is president?
I guess so.
Are there pedophiles who will get away with it are there pedophiles getting away with things because Donald Trump is not letting all the files release?
Yes.
Why are you supporting a pedophile enabler?
I don't know if I'm actively supporting anybody. It's just the vote I made for the better of this country, and it ended up, I mean, lesser of the two evils, right?
Oh, you think Donald Trump, who enables pedophiles and hits on 10-year-olds, is a lesser evil than Kamala Harris? What was the worst thing Kamala Harris was going to do to you?
Okay, maybe I don't think that now, but come election time, I did.
Okay,
So,
are you then
and
saying,
so did
Alex,
the
you
rest
would
of
have,
the
if
country,
the
so-
election was today, would you have voted Kamala Harris?
No, I would have went third party.
So
She
you
was
would
a
have,
horrible candidate.
which means that you're going to vote for whoever the worst option is. Throwing away your vote and voting for the worst option are synonymous. What state are you in? Texas? Texas even had a shot. I'm in Texas too. We canceled out each other's votes. That's pretty.
Yeah, right?
Texas actually has a shot at one of these elections going purple. You potentially, it wouldn't have been useless to vote actually on the ballot for one of them.
So thank you.
No, I'm saying that means you
understand
can't
your
vote
point,
third
and I
party.
agree
If
with
there's
it.
a chance to deny a pedophile enabler his office, voting third party is not preventing it.
Okay, well, that's how much I didn't like Kamala Harris. We'll
Right.
just leave it at that.
That you actually,
back
okay,
to
so
the
answer my
original
question. What was
plan.
the worst thing Kamala Harris was going to do to you besides exist as a black woman?
Just be another puppet, another Joe Biden.
Oh, okay. And so what policy was going to come out that was the worst policy because of that being puppeted?
It's not that there wouldn't be any new policies to come out. It would be the lack thereof, I guess.
What
I
was
feel
the
like she
worst
wouldn't have-
one?
I couldn't tell you, but that's
Right.
the
So you
thing is,
can't
I
actually
feel
name
like
a
her
bad,
that-
what was a bad thing that was going to happen to you if Kamala Harris had won? You'd be
Hey,
sad
listen,
about it? 'Cause she'd just be there all black
I
and womany.
voted entirely off my emotion.
Uh-huh.
You look at Kamala
I agree.
Harris, and I think she's a puppet. Personal opinion.
Did Donald
So
Trump
I
on
didn't wanna
the
vote
did
for it.
Donald Trump on the campaign trail say he does or doesn't support Project 2025?
I couldn't tell you. Why does that matter?
Oh, I'll tell you, because he said he doesn't support Project 2025, doesn't even know what it is, but what he has heard, there are things that are too extreme. How much do you support Project 2025?
I don't even know what it is.
Great.
Oh,
well,
wow.
Project 2025 is basically the brainchild of the Heritage Foundation and other right-wing religious extremist organizations, probably more extreme than even what you would be comfortable with based on what we've learned so far, and basically has a bunch of extremely radical agendas for essentially turning the US into a Christian theocracy and removing the ability for people's votes to count, and basically making this much more of a theocratic hellhole to live in. Donald Trump came out against it, saying that he isn't into it. But you know who is into it? People like Peter Thiel, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance actually wrote the foreword for the book on Project 2025. So he says he's against it. And yet, despite that, since taking office, which again is now only, what are we up to, 7-ish months ago, 7 months in a week, 40% has been completed and another 20% is in progress, with more than another year left to go to the midterms and more than 3 years left in his actual presidency. So you want to sit here and sort of say Kamala Harris was going to be a puppet, because I kind of think she would have been, because the policies she would have put out would have been consistent with the Democratic platform, which I agree were not good enough, but are better than the Republican platform. She would have been a puppet for that, but that's because how you feel. I can literally prove to you Donald Trump is a puppet because he has been doing the agenda of an organization that he said he is not supporting, has also put up their people as the Supreme Court nominees, despite not being a staunch Christian himself. But Kamala Harris is the puppet.
Man, you got ammo, huh? Wow.
Why do you think I do? Why do you think I do this job, sir?
Yeah, well, you're going all in on somebody that doesn't really care that much about Trump. Like,
all right, well,
I
thanks for
voted,
calling then. I don't know
and
why
if
we're
I could
here.
Go back,
If
probably
you
would vote third party, but like it's not what I called in to talk about.
I mean, Alex,
I don't
why
care
would
for Trump that much. So like,
Alex, if you're not going to defend your vote, you're not going to admit you were wrong. You're not going to admit you should have voted for Harris. You're not going to admit that Trump was a puppet. All you want to talk about is how you wish trans people weren't in sports. I think that bores the fuck out of us.
does it? Well, I
Yeah.
called in for your girlfriend there, not you.
Oh, interesting.
Well, you can call me
Hang
on the
Lucian,
transatlantic call-in
the
show
guy
sometime.
The guy on the line's apparently calling to talk to you, says that they're here for my girlfriend who's in the other room. You actually already talked to my girlfriend. She was your call
That's
screener.
true.
So Alex, also bad at how words work and identifying people in general, but let's get into your identity politics bullshit. What's your favorite sport? Tennis? Can you name three current famous female tennis players without Googling anything?
I was kidding. I'm actually not a fan of tennis. I just know you're looking for a gotcha.
I think I've already won. Buddy, if I've had 40 gotchas in a row with you, what's the point of number 41?
I mean, I don't know who.
At a certain point, you climax too much and you're tired and your balls hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex, can you name three famous basketball players in the WNBA who aren't Caitlin Clark or one of her teammates?
No, I cannot.
Yeah, you don't care about women in sports. You just care about this wedge issue that you think you have some knowledge on because you've heard of Leah Thomas and maybe a couple others, and you're going to bring up, well, that one girl got her face broken in MMA, which apparently only happens when there's a trans person there, and you're going to ignore all the stats about the fact that competitively they aren't actually setting all the records. Competitively, they mostly aren't winning. They don't have any gold medals, despite the fact that they were allowed in the Olympics. So why do you want to even do it, Alex? You're going to lose on this one too. Why not go and do some research, do some study, and call about things that you just said you don't want to talk about our first topic because you don't actually care about Trump, but I'm supposed to talk to you about women's sports when you've just proven you don't care about women's sports.
It's not that I don't care about women's sports. It's that I care about respecting women as a whole and giving them what they're entitled to.
Great. Me too. And trans women are women and they're entitled to participate in women's spaces. Excellent. We agree. Thank you, Alex. This was boring. Goodbye.
No, we do not.
Yeah, we did. You said, I heard it. I heard the agreement right there at the end. Okay. Sorry if I just denied you the call, the sports call you wanted.
I do a transatlantic call-in show all the time. I can talk about sports whenever I want to.
Yeah. I don't know how much. All right. Bunny, I'll take very quickly so we can free up that line, but we have other debate callers. Bunny in Colorado, we're probably not going to we're pretty stuck on our topic today, your thing about wanting to talk about AI. We'll probably skip, but I did want to bring you on just to confirm for the caller in the past. You do go to a church, it looks like. Is that correct?
Well, I don't go to a physical church. I go to an online church.
Okay. And your church is trans welcoming, correct?
Very trans welcoming, so much that our founder started transitioning in 2022.
Great. All right. So the points about, is it a Christian church? What kind of church is it?
It is for the bad film director, Ed Wood.
What?
The Church of Ed Wood.
Oh, is it a cult? Y'all following one person? Is it Christian? What is it?
Well, I consider it a religion. I mean, how do you exactly define religion?
Are there any holy books? Well, how you define religion is by the dictionary. It's a system of worship following a supernatural entity and the sort of information that surrounds it. But what?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said there, Jimmy.
In your religion, what is the supernatural entity which receives your worship?
Well, we are kind of like a Unitarian in that regard, where you can be a Woodian if you're Catholic. You could be Woodian as an atheist. I am an atheist Woodian. You can be whatever religion you want. You know, think about Woodism as a free plug-in. You know what I mean?
I think I've heard of this. Hang on. Okay.
Edward.org if you're looking it up.
This has been pointless because it's basically a religion cosplay and is almost a parody religion. So it's not even a real religion. It's kind of a parody of. What? Very briefly, what point did you want to make about AI, Bunny?
Oh, well, no. The only point of being in the Church is that I want to let the trans community that the Church of Edward loves them.
Okay,
And
I don't care. I don't care. What is the point you wanted to make about AI? Very quickly.
AI, well, that's a bigger discussion because, like, I don't even know if we're even talking about AI correctly. Like, we're talking about AI as if it is fucking sentient, you know?
Sure. Okay. So we'll do that. We'll have a day where we're dedicated to AI topics. Let's call back on that. I don't want to lose the steam with these Trumpers calling in. All right.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Jimmy.
Thanks,
Been
buddy.
watching you forever.
I appreciate you. Bye. I feel a little bad being mean to fans, but you got to stay on topic, and I don't care about Ed Wood.
Yeah, we had 1 million calls on Takis today. We were like, sorry, everybody, we got to keep it moving.
Yeah. Who do you like? You got a line?
Who do I like? Oh, boy. I don't know. Let's try it. Trump derangement syndrome sounds fun.
Okay. Which one's that? Okay. Norm. Norm in New York, you are on the line with Jimmy and Luxander to talk about Trump derangement syndrome, which I first want to make sure that you recognize is a colloquial term, is not an actual medical term, despite your best wet dreams.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Okay, great. Now, how do you define what Trump derangement syndrome is?
You guys might make it something more in the future.
And maybe you will.
Like it's going in that direction.
Could be that you do. So what is the definition of Trump derangement system?
I can laugh. I laughed at Biden and Kamala Harris. It was pretty funny watching that show.
Great.
So
what is Trump derangement system? What's the definition?
Well, I was just kind of wondering, have you guys thought about when you're going to transition from Trump derangement syndrome to advanced derangement syndrome so you don't shock your system?
What is the definition of Trump derangement syndrome?
It's just constantly talking about Trump. Everything that he does, you have to be on an opposite position.
So does Donald Trump have Trump derangement syndrome, but in the positive? Because he's always talking about himself.
You can, if you want to try to like flip it and reverse it.
Yeah, I will. But
I think it's kind of funny. I think it's just kind of funny because you guys are focused on everything that he does.
Yeah.
At some point, he is going to go away.
Oh, I hope so. But will Trumpism go away?
But what are you going to do? What are you going to do at that point? That's what I'm curious about.
I'm going to advocate for the exact same things I do now, which is the end of.
Are you just going to flip it and just?
Norm, would you like my answer? Would you like my answer, or would you like to keep giving your version of what you hope my answer is?
You're already showing.
Norm, would you like my answer? Norm, would you like my answer? You asked a question and then I started to answer, and you immediately started answering your own thing. And by the way, buddy, when you engage like this, I just would caution you, because this is recorded, it's going out to the internet. I don't think you want to be throwing the deranged, you can't stop talking about it when you're communicating the way you are. Trump derangement syndrome is, I know you are, but what am I? I know, I'm hilarious, Norm. Trump derangement system.
You're very condescending. It is quite funny.
Yeah, you're literally calling in to tell me I have a mental disorder because I'm talking about what is the most socially and politically relevant topic. Jesus Christ, Norm, shut the fuck up for a second and let me finish a thought. Christ. I'm like, can we switch?
You have delusions of grandeur.
I wish I could switch you with the famous Norm. I'm going to mute you so you can actually fucking listen. Okay, Norm, Trump derangement syndrome is I know you are, but what am I-ism? You have been accused of being a part of, and you are, a cult for the last, what are we coming up on, 9 years. Y'all dress the same, you make the same points, you hone in on the same shit, and when you are challenged on things, asked to engage reason, logic, figures, statistics, science, all of it falls apart. Your hypocrisy is so easy to find. It's not even like layers within the onion. It's just when you take that brown peel off. It's just there. It's present. It is the design of your thing. I'm not impressed that after years of being told you're in a cult, because you are, you guys went, I know you are, but what am I? After years of being the party that protects pedophiles and children getting married to adults, you literally at a legal level, you guys want to go, oh, you guys are trying to harm kids, because that is what you actively do, also while trying to disable them from being able to report on their abuse by blocking them from sex education. So this is what your side does. I'm going to unmute you in a moment, but you calling me Trump deranged is like a person legitimately believing in Santa saying that I believe in the Easter Bunny when I don't. And I'm just sitting there going like, my opinion of you is already so low that I know you are, but what am I doesn't interest me. I'll now unmute you. I wonder if you stop talking the whole time.
Okay, so are you ready? Would you like to know? It's the $1 million question. Why you feel this way?
Is there a question coming, or you're going to make a statement?
No, see, you haven't answered it.
What is
you
your
really
question?
Haven't answered
Great.
it. All
What's
you've
your
done
question?
is showed how deranged you really are.
Great.
And it's like
What's your
therapy
question?
that you have to vent about it.
Great. What's
no,
your
it's not
question?
A question? I'm trying to explain to you why you're always on this topic.
Okay, now
why
don't do I know you are, but what am I again? And by the way,
I'm going to
around.
give it to you. We're going to take the elevator all the way down to the bottom of the stairs. I'll give you the best information you ever heard in your life.
Norm, real quick,
okay?
before we
Check
get there, real quick before we get there, because this is important context. Are you? Let me know of the following people. Which people are you a fan of? Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Candace Owens, Alex Jones. Of those five, what percentage of them are you a fan of?
I like Michael. No, I don't. I would say you said his name.
Michael
you
Knowles.
Could say it one more time.
Michael Knowles.
No, not Michael Knowles.
Matt
Walsh. Matt Walsh.
Great, Matt Walsh. Okay, Matt Walsh. Do you like Michael Knowles?
He's okay, but I'm not very religious.
Okay, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Do you like Ben Shapiro?
No, he's okay, but I'm not a fan.
You like Alex Jones?
I like a lot of what he says. A lot of stuff.
How many of them do you believe have Biden derangement syndrome?
I don't think any of them do.
Okay, who made more content and talked about more? Me about Trump or them about Biden?
Oh, definitely you about Trump.
Nope, it's them about Biden by several miles. I actually wasn't even on air for most of the Biden administration. And then when it came to Trump, I was mostly focused on religion stuff. So here we have pointed out again, I don't even have to peel the onion, your hypocrisy. You don't like when your side has a dedicated critical factor.
Oh my God, you're just ridiculous.
You literally are, I know you are, but what am I again? So now go on with the point that you were going to make that proved it.
You can't shut up. I was going to tell you, but you can't shut up. We'll take the elevator all the way to the bottom of the stairs.
Don't you wish you could do this? I can make you shut up. I give a fuck what you think about me. Norm, we've just pointed out what an incredible hypocrite you are because you support people who talk about, by the way, who's still talking about that shit? Who's still doing I know you are, but what am I? All five of those individuals who are at minimum to you, they're okay, but not my favorite. But I do like that Matt Walsh because he has trans derangement syndrome and can't shut up about them. Anyway, go on about how I can't shut up. Just kidding. You're still muted. Now you can.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you've never been in professional sports on your position in trans sports. It's pretty funny.
I was seeing if I could trick you with the bell.
You're just mental, bro. But I can explain it. You want to know why? Here we go.
I'm not worried about you calling me mental when you wouldn't address and accept your own hypocrisy.
Why don't you shut up for a second so I can talk?
Because I was responding to the thing you just said, Norm.
Can you shut up? Can I talk without you talking over me?
You can't actually. No.
Here's the
as long as you're whining about it, you
can't love or hate something about another person unless it mirrors and reflects to you something that you either love or hate about yourself.
Okay,
That's why you're so hyper-focused on Trump. There you go. That's why you're so hyper-focused on Trump
And
and
where
everything
is
Trump does.
and Norm, where is the statement
There you
you
go,
just
bro.
made in the DSM? What page could I find that on?
Bro, you can't even stop talking to even
Do your
listen to what I was
fingers
saying.
smell like shit because of what you just pulled out of your ass?
Bro, you're the one that likes to finger assholes from what I can tell.
I'm so sorry for any
honestly,
woman you
let's
ever
not
date
go
that
into
you would
that
never
topic.
go there. I'm just
Bro,
kidding,
I've
Norm. We
dated,
both
like,
know
4
you
of
don't
them
get
at the
women.
same time, bro. I don't think you
I
understand
know
the
why.
level
So
that
that was
we're on.
me bringing
You're
up
just
you.
like
Me bringing up you dating women was
literal
truly cool and mean of me.
passive-aggressive bitch. With
Sorry,
your
what's that?
Not enough anagens and sidekick. And
Who's
not enough
sidekick?
anagens and utero sidekick.
Sorry, what was that?
It's just like a passive little bitch.
Norm,
Can't
Norm,
make anybody
Norm,
talk.
Norm. We can't.
freaking
Hey,
hilarious.
take a breath. You're crying. We can't understand you while you're crying. Take a breath.
I'm
Stop
laughing.
crying.
I'm laughing
No,
because
no,
you're
no.
so ridiculous.
Oh,
This
Norm.
is part
Okay,
of the
that's
derangement
cute.
that I was
You're
talking
laughing.
about.
Stop eating.
is the
Stop
derangement
crying.
you were
Leave the
talking about.
bathroom because we can hear that you're on the toilet, and just have the conversation. Jesus Christ, Norm.
Bro, you're a ridiculous bitch. It's
Bro.
hilarious.
Oh no, am I a bitch to Norm who has been exposed as a hypocrite about 48
With a little
times
whiny
now?
voice.
Oh no, is my
With a little
voice
whiny
whiny?
voice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey Norm.
Yeah. Not
Hey,
enough anagens in utero, I think.
Norm,
I think that's
if
the real problem.
you send me an
Mommy's
email,
tummy
if
oven
you
was the
send me
wrong
an email,
temperature.
I will try
That's
to
the
help
bottom
you
line.
cure your dry dick.
It's not your fault. We get it. It's a chemical brain imbalance. We get it. We hooked you
Hey
up.
Norm,
We
the
could
reason
see a
why your
chemical brain
family doesn't
imbalance.
like
We
you
get it.
is your fault, though. Just for the record, if we're talking about what is and isn't someone's fault.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, every friend
It
you've
was-
ever lost, it was
we
you.
looked at your family. It would be like something from the island of misfit toys.
Yeah. Do you know how many of your girlfriends
Let's not
wanted
kid
to say
anybody.
it's not me, it's you?
How
All
many?
of
You
them.
mean like 3
had
or 4
you
at a
ever
time?
had?
Okay.
Had you ever had them?
Bro,
What's up, Norm?
you have no idea. Let's not go there. Because your
Where are we
boyfriends
going?
are also girlfriends.
Where are we going, Norm?
Come
You
on.
spoke to my
Come on, bro.
girlfriend. You literally spoke to my girlfriend not
I did. I don't know
not
what
34
I spoke to.
34 minutes
I
ago.
can't tell you for sure what that was.
Okay.
I really can't.
And you would never have a shot.
It's just so this is why you have to be insulting. You can't just have a normal conversation with somebody.
I can't have it.
Because
Norm, you need to go back and
all these
watch this
things
call.
Just reflect on yourself.
Norm,
You hate yourself.
Norm,
You despise Trump because you despise yourself for the same
I'm surprised you're
reasons.
quoting Deepak
It's such
Chopra
incredible
because I would have assumed it was a
animosity that it's
no-go with
hilarious
him
to
being
watch.
brown for you.
It's hilarious to watch. It
Norm,
really is. It's very
Norm,
entertaining. I want you
Norm,
to
I
know
want
that.
you to recognize
I had
that
a
I
good
could have
time
hung up
watching
on
the
you at
program.
any point and ask yourself why I haven't felt the need to yet.
Doesn't matter. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Why didn't I?
You're not going to hurt me anyway.
Why-
I'm just going to laugh at this.
Norm,
Just
why
laugh at
have
you.
but Norm, but
Because
Norm,
you
but
guys
Norm,
seriously do
but
have a
Norm,
derangement.
but Norm, why haven't I?
Because it's for a show. Because you're putting on a show.
By the way,
For your
Chad
little
agrees that you're definitely
beta
crying and
audience that
not
watches
laughing.
CNN after they get off.
Why are you crying,
get off
dude?
Of this. They're going to go watch CNN.
Are you okay?
Why am I crying?
I hear
What are
you
you
crying.
talking
I can
about?
hear that you are literally crying.
Oh, yeah, sure I am. Yeah, sure I am.
Norm, stop
What are you
crying,
talking
dude. It's not
about?
that serious. It's just YouTube. Jesus.
Why don't you get some bass in your voice, bro? Why don't
Hey,
you add
listen,
a little bass to your voice?
If you angle your head
sound a little
correctly, you will
squeaky there.
slightly moisturize
You
your
sound a little
dick with your
squeaky.
tears. That might help.
You should really get your testosterone levels checked. That's what
I
think.
will. I will for you. I'll say
think
Norm
you
is
should.
really
Yeah,
concerned
I
about
really
my
do think you
prostate.
should.
Norm thinks about my balls all the time, so I got to get these things checked. All right. Well, Norm, thanks for the comments.
Guys,
thanks for
just
talking
beta.
about my balls.
Thanks,
This has
beta.
been truly a wonderful,
I appreciate it.
interaction. Did
Yeah,
you
I do.
unironically
just
say
keep
beta
insulting
there at
people.
the end?
Just keep insulting people.
Oh my God. Did you
such a-
unironically say beta and then complain? Just keep insulting people. Bro, get your nipples checked. Your nipples are fucking whack. All right. Bye, Norm. What the fuck was that shit? You fucking beta. Stop insulting people. Fucking Christ. Oh, Jesus.
That
Oh,
was
man.
fun. I was just along for the ride on that one.
I love too a person who just said you can only basically hate something if you're reflecting it and then saying every insult is a reflection. And then he starts going, your voice sucks. Norm, Norm, Norm.
I feel bad for you with that low self-esteem.
Give a fuck what. Oh my God. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sure
God.
that somebody here will be more honest. Didn't we talk to that person earlier? Let's see.
Is it a different David? Or what are you talking about?
Yeah, I thought so. Well, you pick the next one. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, let's do trans people are mentally ill. Let's do 21-6. Let's fucking go.
Hell yeah. David, are you going to be an honest interlocutor here, or do we have to do the whole, like, tell me what my points are?
I'm not so sure. You know, we've talked before.
How'd it go?
Well, you said I was one of your favorite Trump voters because I'm in California. Remember?
Oh, right. I do remember you because your vote didn't count. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, David. Do you still support Trump even after all the Epstein stuff? I'm actually glad you called because that does interest me.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm mixed, you know, like most of us, I got to tell you though, if I was going to do the Epstein thing, which I don't want to get into, you know, I'm sure there would be like 9-1. I used to be a Democrat, you know, like I used to be a left winger, you know, if you can convince me that, you know, which actually I don't want to talk about, that communism is decent, which it isn't. And never, I'll go.
Well,
but anyway,
okay, hang on.
I want to ask you a question.
David. We can't just breeze over that. First of all, the Democrats don't support communism. I might be excited to vote for them if they did. By the way, of the forms of socialism I support, I wouldn't call myself a communist. I've got sympathies, communist sympathies, but I'm more of a dirtbag, small L libertarian socialist myself. At this moment, I might grow into communism, David, so give me the space to grow. But let's not pretend the Democrats actually. So the Democrats are in the pockets of billionaires too. They are interested in keeping power. It has nothing to do with communism. And if it did have to do with communism, we wouldn't see anything as it looks like right now. For example, them all unanimously voting to continue the efforts in Gaza. But what I specifically want to know, David, then, if I can put it the most simply, if, let's say, not general election, I'll be kinder to you than I was the previous caller. In light of the Epstein stuff, would you vote in a primary for a different Republican against Donald Trump because of the Epstein stuff?
Okay, I have a lot to say to that, and I have a question for you. You follow politics.
Wait, yes or no? Hang on, I'll give you my question. Yes or no? Would you vote for I don't need to know who it would be. Would you, in a primary, still vote for Trump or a different Republican?
Okay, I think they were multimillionaires, obviously, and you know, there was the.
Am I having a stroke?
There was. No. Listen to me.
I'm seeing if I can smell pennies.
And there are a lot of degenerates, okay, on Epstein Island. I agree with that.
Great.
Okay, no matter who they were.
Okay. Would you have voted for Trump or a different Republican in the primaries
Probably
if it was happening today?
Now.
A different Republican.
Probably,
Thank you, David.
Right.
Thank you. I feel like that means that you have a soul, metaphorically, that at least there's an upper limit to, right? That it's a certain point. So I'm trying to be kinder and charitable here. Okay.
Yeah. It's very concerning to all of us conservatives and right wingers.
Oh, not all of you.
Thing. And I don't like it when he fluffs it under the carpet like he did, you know, at the cabinet meeting. That wasn't correct.
Yeah. So we agree, release the Epstein files, only redact the name of the victims, right?
I don't know. I don't think they're going to, but
if you or I could decide, we would work together to only redact. Yes. Great.
Agreed.
Thank you, David.
Cool.
Thank you. Goodness sakes. That was, I forgot what we were. I think I did have a stroke. All right, David, go ahead. What are you calling in on?
Okay, I guess we want to talk about the incident, the murder, you know, of the transsexual committed, you know, a couple of days ago. Do you want to?
Sure. Let's start with your knowledge of it. Describe to me their gender identity.
Describe for you what?
What was their gender identity according to their own reporting?
Oh, I'll tell you that I really haven't followed it. I just found out that, you know, I'm against being, you know, I'm saying the transsexuality is a mental illness, you know.
Okay,
like
great. But David,
40,
you're saying you want to talk about
ago.
that. Can we acknowledge then, if you don't even know what their gender identity was, that you don't actually know whether
it was a he turning into wanted to be a she, and then he regretted it later on.
There's much more to it. What did they describe them? How did they describe themselves?
He regretted doing it, having the operation or whatever, right? Correct? Something
I'm
like
not
that.
aware of any operation.
Oh, he didn't have the operation.
I don't know if I'm going to go with they, because they described probably a gender fluidity in their manifesto, and you can't actually mispronounce somebody with they, them, unless you're doing it on purpose to be a dick and deny a person their
Okay,
denied.
I'll go along with that.
So
whatever.
we'll go with
so
they, them.
I thought that, I assume that they had, the sex change operation.
I have no idea if they
ago,
did.
And they
I doubt
like
it, since they described
it.
it says in their manifesto, which clearly you haven't read, they described the only remnant of their transition that is left is the fact that they had long hair. It would be strange if they had had that intrusive of a surgery, and yet the only thing that you could tell made them trans anymore was the hair. So I'm doubtful that that's the case. I don't know where you got that information. Also, the term transsexual, just so you know, is pretty outdated.
Okay, do you realize that most, whatever the term you want to use, transsexuals are
Transgender.
Have, homosexual tendencies, and that homosexuality is also a mental disease.
And where in the
Cool.
DSM is that?
Where have I what?
What is your what's your degree in?
I don't have a degree. I've just read it.
Oh, so you read somewhere that it's a disease, and that makes it a disease?
Well, it used to be assumed that it was actually, homosexuality, like I said, back in the 1970s, switched from being a mental disease to not being one.
Right, and
for
depressed
political
women
correct
used to be
reasons.
and women who were depressed used to be called schizophrenic. Was that correct?
Yeah.
It was correct? Women with depression actually have schizophrenia?
Women who are what? What?
Women
Having
with
a period, or
depression.
so what you're-
No. Women with depression have schizophrenia. That is your position? You just said yes.
No.
Okay,
I
well,
won't
that's
say
how
that.
we used to in the past categorize it. And women would actually be institutionalized for things like that, or being too rebellious or speaking their mind too much. We used to actually put them, the psych wards were filled with neurotypical women who had opinions. So is pointing to the past medical understanding of a mental state indicative of whether or not the current medical understanding is correct?
No, it isn't.
Correct.
But I want to know how come the situation changed years ago, decades ago. There was no clinical reason for
Sure, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you why.
Okay.
I can easily do it. David,
homosexuality changing.
David, the reason why it is no longer is because the original designation was steeped in religious culture and religious ideas and had no actual scientific basis. So when they went back to zero and went, all right, let's start at neutral, zero. We're not saying homosexuality is bad or good. We're going to start at zero, and then we're going to see where the evidence takes us. The evidence took us to not only is homosexuality not evil or bad or wrong, it exists basically everywhere there is life, in every species. I mean, there's literally whales we've only seen have gay sex, despite the fact we know they must be having straight sex because there are new whales, and yet we only have videos of them fucking the dudes fucking each other. So the reason why it changed was we realized that it was a cultural designation, not a scientific one, went back to neutral, and then had no validation or justification to put it back in the bad column.
And it also, psychiatrists used to say that there was so much pent up, I'm just quoting, pent up hatred and lust and homosexualities that they were 5 or 10 times more apt to be violent to other people.
And statistically, did that turn out to be correct?
I don't believe so. Correct.
So are you helping me make my point, or are you trying to rebut it?
No, I guess I'm saying that things, it takes, some adjusting, to what situations are. I'm not, I don't know exactly why this individual went off shooting, like I said, but
thank you for admitting that.
It might have had some. Okay. Yeah.
I agree that they were clearly mentally ill. It has nothing to do with them being trans does not then make them violent. Whether or not their mental illness played a role in their identity questioning or anything in the past, it does not mean trans therefore equals. It's sort of like saying depression, which a lot of school shooters have. means you are going to commit school shootings. Or serial killers often have brain injuries. And to go, okay, anybody who has a brain injury wants to be a serial killer. Doing that kind of summarizing thing because you have an isolated individual is like it's the core of bigotry.
Mm. Yeah, people do stereotype others like that. I agree.
Anyway, I feel now that we're off the homosexuals and back on trans people, maybe you'd like to talk to the trans person on the panel, because I'm just gay.
I'm gay too, but I have double plus gay.
Oh, okay. So you are. So that tends to be a high percentage of can I say trans people? Would be,
that would be accurate. It's accurate to say that trans people is is a fairly ubiquitous term at this time. So are the majority of trans people gay? I haven't actually looked into the specific statistics on that, but I would guess that it's slightly higher than average. I don't know why that would be a bad thing per se, but I would be willing to grant that it's probably a larger number than the rest of the population. Sure.
But David, I feel you should also understand when we're talking about things that have cultural influence, what percentage of people who report they are straight aren't really that straight? Because what we find is that if you are just in a community, you are raised amongst people who are accepting of queerness, which it would be weird for the trans people to not be accepting of queerness, then there is a higher, even amongst cis individuals, a higher occurrence of people reporting that they have a queer identity. So it has far more to do with cultural acceptance than it has to do with whether or not the person is trans. But to be trans basically necessitates some level of cultural progressiveness. It's not hard to figure out. David, I guarantee you, if you took your 100 straightest men you've ever personally met and re-raised them in a culturally accepting of queerness commune, you went back in time, you bring them to a commune, then they find it culturally accepting to be queer, but nobody pushes them to be queer or not. Those 100 straightest men, all cisgender, will not be all straight afterwards. I don't know what percentage. I would bet it's above 50. I think that most people probably naturally fall in a sort of, when accepting, in a sort of bisexual zone, and that the people who would actually be more practically straight would probably be a minority of probably 10 to 15% for men. And people aren't going to like this, but I don't think there's no such thing as a straight woman. That's a joke. Chill. It's like 5% though.
It's great. Yeah, I don't know if they would let you in church if you said that.
Oh, there's lots of churches who won't let me in the first place.
Yeah. But okay. You want to talk about MAGA or Trump, real quick?
I mean, I'm curious how you justify the statement that trans is a mental illness. That's your initial statement that you made, and it's related to this shooter, which I would agree with Jimmy. This shooter was clearly dealing with some shit. They reported that they were suicidal. They clearly have been dealing with things. So I would say, yes, it's fair to say that that particular trans person was likely suffering with some diagnosable mental illness, but that being trans doesn't have anything to do with that.
Well, do you mind if I ask you if you've ever seen a psychiatrist?
Have I ever seen a psychiatrist? No, psychiatrists are fucking expensive.
I have. I'm a cis man, and
have I seen a therapist is like a different question.
Yeah.
David, do you know what the difference between a psychiatrist, psychologist, and therapist is? Just out of curiosity. I'm not trying to be mean.
I've actually seen them, and I really don't know.
Yeah. And so this is kind of where, David, and I genuinely don't mean this insultingly.
So wait a minute. I know that a psychiatrist has been to medical school, and they usually have a doctorate, and a psychologist hasn't. And so a lot of these psychologists, haven't, don't have the graduate degrees that the psychiatrist does.
You can still be a psychologist with a doctorate, but it wouldn't be medically performing, I think, is the difference. The big difference
the difference between being able to prescribe medication or not.
right? Which in some
Yeah,
places
that's what I was gonna
therapists can
say.
prescribe some. You really should be, if you can, getting your evaluations done by a psychiatrist, because they're going to have a much broader. Anyway, the point is, like, maybe, just maybe, David, maybe that's who you should be listening to for what is and isn't a mental illness, instead of reading it somewhere online. And that it can be okay to go, look, trans is weird to me. Because listen, David, I don't think it's weird in the derogatory sense, but the concept of not being delighted by my genitals is, I don't get it. And yet I know people have that experience. It's an experience that I can sympathize with, but I can't empathize with. I am the biggest fan of, like, presenting masculinely. I get euphoria from being perceived masculinely. I'm a fucking woodworker who likes to ride horses, and this beard means more to me than my legs, okay? If I had to choose one to keep, I'm probably keeping the beard, right? So I can't understand what it feels like to not experience that euphoria, but I can be sympathetic to somebody who doesn't have my experience and go, maybe on the basis of what makes sense to me isn't the basis of what makes sense to other people on a whole lot of issues, right? I also don't understand people who want to fuck feet. That might be you, David. I don't get it, but I understand it might be fuck feet. Some people like to, these are not the same category, fetishes and gender, just to be clear. No. I'm just saying there are lots of things that other people I don't understand, but I'm not going to jump to, because that doesn't make sense in my head. Other people can't be having that experience too. And therefore my brain is what neurotypical looks like. And everybody else that doesn't fit that definition is mentally ill. And David, I think that you have fallen for that tendency. And I'm not surprised, and you're being much more honest than other callers. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of, like, good faith here, that maybe you can sit back and go, okay, I don't get trans stuff. Maybe I even find it icky, because I find gay stuff icky too. And I don't really know the difference much yet, but they're going through an experience that, if anything, I need to sit here, and since you believe in a God, thank your God that you don't have to go through their experience, instead of participating with the system that is making their experience hellish. And maybe just back the fuck off and don't vote against them if you aren't familiar with these facts surrounding it.
Don't you think, though, the society, I mean, I know the word normal, is tossed around a lot, or regular. I mean, don't you think that there are certain ways that are supposed to be, like,
yeah, no incest. Don't fuck kids.
Okay, well, I'm glad you agree with that.
Easy. And I can justify it. I can justify it from moral positions and mental health positions. That generally, if you are interested in incestuous relationships, that is likely indicative of a problem in your brain. And it can be a number of categories of things, because we actually have things hardwired in there to prevent such a thing. And then when it comes to culturally, it is very unlikely that you could have a sexual relationship with two people who are related without a terrible exploitation of a power imbalance. The presence of a power imbalance not automatically making a relationship bad, but the exploitation of it being such. So that one's easy to justify. I can articulate why it is, but you can't do anything like that for being gay or being trans.
I mean, it must be hard for them, to be honest. In a society, it's it's a little bit more accepting than it was, obviously in the the 50s. And
let me speak for trans people here, because why would Lux do it? Yeah, it is hard for them, but they don't have a switch to turn it off when they go one day, this is hard. I'd rather just not be trans.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, since I'm in Southern California, it's all over here. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be fairly, quote, tolerant.
Why not?
I mean, being polite to your neighbors is a good thing. I commend you for being polite to your neighbors.
David, you just recognize that being trans must be very hard. And so you're recognizing the mental and societal distress they must go through. Has your being polite to people you're just walking around caused you any kind of distress that is remotely similar to what they go through?
Oh, you're that's the way you're supposed to be with people.
So maybe don't say it with such a lamentive tone of voice, I think is what I was trying to get at. Because it sounded like you were saying like, my cross to bear is that I have to be nice to these people that you've just recognized basically go through hell in this country.
Yeah. Well, I am pretty judgmental. I'll admit it,
Hey, I'm not opposed to being judgmental. It's just where you put those judgments. I'm not on YouTube because I don't have opinions on things.
Yeah. But no, you're right about a lot of things. I don't disagree. I don't. With all that. But everybody. I mean, it's a good thing that society has become, I guess, more accepting certain traits of, individuals, that are, not in the quote norm, right?
Right, because like even if trans people were mentally ill, I would assume that your religion teaches you to be kind to people who are mentally ill.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
why would
we
say about mentally ill people that they're going to hell? Why would we say about mentally ill people that they're the reason for the fall of America? Like, we wouldn't say that. We would treat them with compassion. So regardless of whether trans people are mentally ill, and like many of us happen to have other illnesses. And I want to say also that like just because I've been to therapy doesn't necessarily mean that I have a diagnosed mental illness. Everybody would benefit from therapy. But that trans people have mental illnesses usually just because people treat us badly, and that being trans itself is not an illness. And even if it was, we should be compassionate to trans people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Man, David, this call went so much better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
That's my bigotry. For the record, I did a bigotry. I made a lot of presumptions in advance because of how you identified yourself. So I'm sorry I did a bigotry. This has gone much better.
Well, look, I'll tell you, Donald Trump has been like, yeah, I tell you, we talk about him a lot, and he has been wonderful, but he has got so many problems. I'll admit that. I wish I could talk to him.
Wonderful thing, David. What's a wonderful thing he's done?
Well, I know you ain't gonna accept this, but I'm like I said, this border. It really wasn't even talked about. And this illegal immigration invasion, I thought was going to ruin America, and it probably will eventually. I think,
David, you know what? I'd argue that is the point. America was no return ruined, honestly. That the point where we have a Gestapo that can go out and demand your papers, that legal citizens on the basis of being brown are getting swiped up and detained, that people that our police force has become anonymous and masked. Literally, like, David, I guarantee you, before Trump, if you and I had been sitting around talking about a like hellish dystopian future of America, regardless of what party, we would have described what we're seeing now. Yeah, the police, you wouldn't know who they were. They'd be going out. You could be put in prison or deported for speech. Our labor force, immigration would be locked way down, and you wouldn't be able to come here unless you basically were like rich and stuff, even if you are contributing to society. David, the thing which you think is good is, I would say, the moment that I probably gave up that America is savable. And I think whatever our future thing is that we could get is probably not America in essence.
Okay, if you want to talk about illegal immigration, the rule is about a third. A third of them are probably criminals, or you can look this up on the internet, of course, and about a third are taking, government checks or something like, and probably a third are really good contributing to society. I mean, you just have to look up this. I'm sure you got your statistics, and I can quote them too.
Right, but where did you get those ones from?
From the internet,
No. Where on the internet?
You want to know from like, the Heritage Association? Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So from super biased right-wing organizations like the Heritage Foundation, whereas the actual crime statistics show that immigrants commit crime at a much lower rate than the domestic population.
Right. So the incarceration rate of illegal immigrants is about 613 per 100,000, whereas native-born Americans is 1,221 per 100,000. So native-born Americans are twice as likely to be incarcerated. 1/4 are as likely to be arrested for property crimes, and one half they are half as likely to be arrested for violent or drug crimes. So the first thing you said about the crime, completely not true. By the way, those stats are tracked by Congress, and you can actually read congressional reports, even under right-wing administrations that validate those numbers. So what was your other claim? They are 1/3 or what? Contributing?
No, yeah. I'd say maybe 1/3 to 1/2, maybe, or becoming, citizens and working.
No. Well, if they're illegal, they're not becoming citizens, right?
Well, I'm saying I'm not against people that are illegal that are working. I'm saying that but the ones that are, obviously, and
so I just found the number. It is 74%.
A lot of them are
74% are contributing actively through taxes.
I don't
and
agree with that. I
economic
have to check
activity.
that number and recheck it. I don't agree. No, that number
Right,
is more like the opposite.
You don't agree because it's going to have come from like an actual stat place, and it doesn't actually fit into your. And by the way, that's from the Center for Migration Studies. It doesn't agree with what the point you want it to want to make is, but you also are in I'm honestly surprised at this point when I meet a Republican who likely you don't even know how often you are interacting with undocumented people, but you should know your life is better because they're around and they are funding your neighborhoods. They are laboring.
Okay, you know that the proximity, obviously, of California to Mexico, borders it.
I'm much closer than you are. I'm in Texas, buddy.
Okay, and so so obviously a lot of them are, are Mexicans that are coming up here from, Mexico.
Is that true?
And
wait.
they used to do.
David, hang on before you breeze past that. What is the number one way a person becomes an illegal immigrant in this country? How do most illegal immigrants become illegal?
Well, I know I've heard it's overstay their visa, but I don't agree with that.
Wait, why don't you agree with that? Those are the government stats.
Okay, if you look at, I'm sure it's some of the high schools where you are too, how many of the, obviously Mexican people that there are, like maybe it's like 20 or 30% where it used to be, mainly,
David, I live in America and I'm geographically closer to the border. So yes, I came from Denver. Denver is a much more liberal, even in some places, kind of leftist area. And it's like a culturally segregated place because who's going to force anybody to hang out with each other? But down here, it's not practical. I live in a much more integrated place because I'm in a right-wing border. Well, the right-wing part doesn't matter because I'm in a border state. Not only are there more, by the way, David, this doesn't even just apply to Mexicans. The neighborhood before the one I live in now was like 70% Arab, right? There are immigration hubs because of connections to cities that are immigrant accepting. And most people who are here, quote unquote, illegally have overstayed their visas. And you say you disagree, but you don't have a good basis upon which to disagree.
Well, because I could look up the statistics on that. And do I want to ask you a question? Do you know what Ellis Island is, right?
Of course. Back when we had an open border policy.
It was when people used to come over here, like probably my relatives from Russia, back 100 years ago, and they would come over here in the boats. And they would say, "Where are you from?" And they would say, and there would be lines. What are you going to do here? Mm-hmm. Let's get you tested medically, right? Examined. And what I'm saying? And,
sure. You were talking about a much more minor version of vetting, because if you think that they were doing intensive physicals in Ellis Island decades ago, you are very sadly mistaken. But they tried to make sure they didn't have, plagues and shit like that. Yeah. So similarly to the undocumented immigrants here.
If we would set up something like that, maybe at the southern border, we could have gates where people could come to rather than just.
Again, most people are just overstaying a visa.
Running over here.
Most people are overstaying a visa. The illegal border crossings, the coyote thing that that you are so afraid of is a strong minority of the cases. The difference was that if you came through Ellis Island, you basically got citizenship later for 2 cents and a kiss on the cheek.
Well, I think it was a little bit more than that, but
yeah, it might have been 2 kisses.
People, there was, I mean, like I'm saying, you usually had to know somebody, and don't forget there were thousands and tens of hundreds and maybe millions of people turned away too.
Don't worry. First of all, no, it was very much the only people they knew were criminals. That was very much an open borders policy. But David, I promise you, Mexicans know people who live in America. You don't have to worry about that. You have to know somebody. They're here, David. They know people. It's okay.
Yeah.
Also, California was Mexico. We slapped a border down and said, this is ours now. So, really silly to be opposed to Mexican presence in California.
That whole story's wild.
You realize that there were also, I think, hundreds. If I've looked that up about, and with the war with Mexico, there were like hundreds of Mexicans who were over here that fought against, their own country to be, all for the United States. And you can look that up. They
was it right
on our side?
Was it right to abolish slavery?
Come on.
No. Answer the question. Was it right to abolish slavery?
Was it right?
Yeah, to abolish slavery.
To abolish. The answer is yes.
Right, David. But there were black people who fought for the South, so I don't know. I see
what you're saying.
There's so much conflicting. It doesn't matter. You talk about today. Don't do these whole I'm like, the next thing you're going to say is by the way, black people had slaves too. Yeah, no shit. But my ancestors had slaves and that was fucked up. So I'm going to talk about the history of my ancestors and my country.
New York also had slaves and so did Boston.
And they were wrong
there were some Yankee states that did.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have. And by the way,
people don't realize that.
New York has slaves now. Okay, Boston has slaves now. Well, I don't know if the city does.
I know, I've heard you say that.
Yeah, no, we have literally a slave-based prison system. Anyway, David, I think we're going to move on here, but
okay.
I feel like you're not. All hope isn't lost, but you're clearly sitting in the chamber of going, I just hear and I read it and I just take it in and I don't. You need to start investigating steps deeper than what you're doing.
I agree with you there.
Are you married, Dave?
No.
Go find yourself a beautiful Mexican woman and marry her. I feel that might.
Okay, maybe I'll find a cute transsexual.
Could be.
I'm just kidding.
Then I will be very impressed. Go find a beautiful trans Mexican woman and get yourself straight. All right.
Okay.
Bye, Dave.
Okay, bye-bye.
I say a lot more than I know people are going to get mad about these days.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't.
I think people just expect it at this point, so
I no longer.
It's not going to be cancelable.
Yeah. Because I was saying this to somebody I was talking to on the phone the other day. I was like, I've been canceled 6 times and I always bounce back. But I'm literally like, so your threat is I won't do this anymore? Oh no. What'll I do? I just got to go make stuff out of wood instead of deal with your fucking pussy liberal asses. All right, moving on. I know that one actually is mean. I like pussies. But liberals are such pussies. All right. Tracy in Colorado, my old stomping grounds. I love Colorado. I really do. Tracy in Colorado, you are on the line with Luxander and Jimmy. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Lex. You look lovely today.
Aw.
Hi, Jimmy. You look good, too.
Aw. I was going for lovely, but only Lux.
Sorry. So I had a few things that you might hate me for. Sorry. I think that.
Tracy, I don't know you, so I'm not going to hate you at the end, but I might hate some of the things you advocate for.
Well, hopefully you could convince me to understand why I should not. So, Lux, I have a question for you regarding sports. I noticed that they tested up until women and like cis women and trans women kind of like were equal, but then they like kind of just stopped testing to see like if it would hurt like your heart or what it would do. Are you pushing like, or is the community pushing for that to like be resolved? Because I don't want you hurt or other women hurt, you know?
So the question is regarding health complications of being on hormones. Is that what you're getting at?
And the fact that...
Well, don't they have like specific, like, you have to have your hormones at like this specific level, but like even cis women, like we have, like, I think the cis woman actually tested, she didn't pass the test because she had too much testosterone. So like all of our bodies are different. So my question is like, if you're being forced to have a amount of a hormone in your body, like that could hurt you differently later on. Like they stopped after like 2 years. Like I don't know if it's just hormones though, or if they have to do more. I just know they stopped, and I was just, I double checked that it was 2 years.
So for sports, yeah. The Olympic requirement right now for sports, and this is many other bodies use a similar guideline, which is that a trans woman, in order to participate on the women's team or in the women's category, has to be within a certain range of estrogen for 2 years, or at least on a certain regimen of hormones, and then like a lower testosterone level. And like, yeah, it is, I don't know that there has been a lot of studies specifically on like low testosterone for trans women presenting problems, but they are required to have lower testosterone than most cisgender females have naturally. Like, so there is like this kind of inherently unfair thing where like trans women's testosterone is being policed more than cis women's, although you are correct that cis women's testosterone is being policed. I don't know that there are many health complications associated with that. Obviously, you have to have some hormone in your body, or you will have issues with like bone density loss and other numerous health issues, actually. But as far as I know, you know, when trans women get orchiectomies,
protect you guys a lot more.
I mean, sure.
So you do oppose then the Trump administration getting rid of funding for studying trans health and the complications from medication. Like, you are opposed when you're saying you wish they would study these things more.
I called them and I told them their jail policies were disgusting and they're not doing anything to protect trans women, and trans women are getting attacked more than like I think it's like 100 times more, and the stories are so sick. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
And so do you regret your vote for Trump on that basis, because Trump is harming trans people more?
Well, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is where my heart is tied. January 6th. Okay. January 6th is like, I never ever thought I would ever vote for Trump in my life. Like, I thought I didn't know he was a fucking child. Oh, sorry. Oops.
You can swear.
I didn't know he was a child.
You can swear. It's not a problem.
Oh, I just don't want to mess up your. Yeah, I didn't know he was a child molester until like recently when I read
all the evidence before when he was like,
I read about the girl like.
Right, you know that the Epstein stuff is not the first information we had about him being creepy to kids, right? Like him, there's a video of him hitting on a 10-year-old. There's people
I did not know about that, and I'm so sorry about that. Like,
so basically,
and I think like.
But now go back to January 6th, because you don't like him because he seems to be a pedo. So you don't like that, but you did vote for him because January 6th. How does that happen?
January 6th destroyed my world. Okay, so I was in a Discord and I reported January 6th before it happened. They were going to meet at the Washington Monument. Like, I reported where they were meeting. I reported what they were going to do.
Okay. When you say what they were going to do, that they were going to take place in a peaceful protest, or reported that they were going to storm the Capitol?
They said they were going to storm the Capitol. No, that's what was in the Discord.
And you reported it, as in you let the authorities know?
I want, what I'm saying doesn't matter. I want you to look up the video. There's a video of, I wrote his name down. I didn't want you to not believe me. But there's a video of the FBI, Stephen Dantuono. He admits in a press briefing that they did know about what was going to happen before it happened from various sources.
Okay.
And they did put it into the JTTF, according to him. So they did know it was going to happen. So then I also streamed it on 12 different screens, and I saw people die. I saw one guy, no one hurt this guy, but he had a heart attack, and an ambulance didn't reach him. They had to carry him out on a stretcher thing. I saw a cop kind of needlessly push this guy off his edge.
What was the name of the guy again, real quick? Stephen what? Stephen what?
Sorry, what
was the Stephen's name again? Stephen what?
Oh, the guy that had the heart attack. So there
No. The FBI agent who admitted that they knew the Capitol would be stormed in advance. Stephen what?
I'm so sorry, sir. Dantuono. Dantuono or something?
Dantuono. Dantuono.
Yes, sir. Washington, D.C. field office.
Okay. So
he said that it was in the JTTF.
And he confirmed that they knew it was a plan, not just one of the many threats that could have been that day.
He said that there was various reports of communications. And I also want to point out that the media person that asked him the question was considering that even we the well-known nature of this, basically.
Yeah, so I've already found it, and the quote you are saying is a dramatic retelling of what he said. Essentially, he acknowledged that there was intelligence and informant activity leading up to the day's events, but in no way does he admit that there was an expectation that what happened would happen. And this has taken me so.
Flyers.
What's that?
If you look at the court stuff, when the police are testifying, they talk about how they even had the flyer before the attack occurred. Yeah.
Again, none of this would matter if you're talking about a small group and the expectation that that's going to turn into an actual storming of the Capitol, that you're going to have people there who weren't. Because it's almost like you are suggesting that the many thousands of people who stormed intended to that day, instead of saying that there were a few radical groups who had that idea in mind and were luckily able to bring a lot of those people along and get them to support it. But to then sit there and go...
I think there was 200. I think there was 200 people that planned it, and they were the ones that actually walked around the White House twice. I think that the people that came from the speech...
And I think you are dramatically exaggerating what the FBI knew and was expecting to happen and what they thought their police would be able to handle. Anyway, but on your end, you feel like you voted. The FBI is who I'm referring to. You feel like you voted for Trump because of January 6th, despite now also even knowing.
Not because of that.
Okay, but we also know that Donald Trump was delighted about January 6th. We know from people in the room when it happened that he was refusing until he basically couldn't refuse anymore because so many people were messaging Mark Meadows, basically, you need to go and get him to stop. And Mark Meadows was saying he won't. He's just not going to do it. He's not taking meetings. He doesn't care. And even when confronted with they want to kill Mike Pence, that wasn't enough to get him to stop. So you voted for the guy who said to the Proud Boys, stand down, stand back, stand by, who clearly had the power to dismiss the crowd because eventually he did, who conjured the crowd, but you felt like what? Him being glued to it was unfair?
I felt like it was unfair of Kamala Harris and Biden after that happened. Thank you. Sorry about that. I don't mean to be stupid. I apologize. I thought it was unfair that right after that happened, instead of like letting them all go to trial, they said all of them were insurrectionists, and there were a lot of innocent people that like just thought that they were doing a Wisconsin thing. Like,
and yet there
are many protests where people stormed buildings. Some protests even lasted 3 days, where they didn't leave for 3 days.
They stormed the building to try, and everybody who entered understood that the votes were happening in there and they were attempting to disrupt. They knew they were going through broken windows and broken doors. They absolutely, whether or not they were premeditated, you're basically trying to make the type of distinction between murder and manslaughter. No, manslaughter can be incidental. You're trying to make the difference between like first and third degree murder. Some of the people there were premeditated and some of the people just participated.
What about the officers that said, we don't agree with it, but it's your right out the door?
To enter the space? No. If a cop said that, then they were fucking wrong, because they are.
No, Trump didn't say it.
Great.
An officer said it.
I didn't say Trump said it. If an officer told people in the crowd that they were allowed to do that, then they were wrong. But I am once again, having looked up your first thing that you had video of, and it didn't represent what you said, skeptical of your new claim. And we also know that when it came to police on that day, people were saying they were just letting people in and hugging. And when we go back and we look at the footage, it looks more like retreating, because they realize if these people tried to overwhelm them, they would die. And by the way, they did attempt to kill a couple of cops that did overwhelm them. So they weren't exactly wrong about that.
They also tried to jab their eyes out. I'm not actually trying to change your mind. I'm more just trying to explain why a Trump supporter literally tried to jab a police officer's eye out.
Okay, so Tracy, do you recognize then that you were wrong to vote for Trump on the basis of January 6th? Or are you still standing by and saying it was wrong of the Democrats to call that an insurrection, because some of the people who were breaking the law didn't mean to? They were accidental accessories.
I saw fathers and mothers taken away from their children.
Yep.
I saw 4 people die.
Fathers and mothers are being taken away from their children now by Donald Trump with the immigration stuff.
And I'm not okay with that either.
Okay, so it's rough when it's the white people in danger, and you don't want the white mothers and fathers. But when Donald Trump on the campaign trail,
I didn't know that Trump was going to do that.
You didn't know he was going to do what he said he was going to do, and what he did in his first term. You don't remember kids in cages, Tracy?
He did that in his first term. I thought Obama did that.
Obama also was bad. Stop with the whataboutism.
Yeah, he was.
No shit.
I'm just saying I thought that's who did that.
You didn't know that when he was saying we're going to have the biggest immigration crackdown that this country has ever seen. I'm going to be a dictator on day one. If they're here illegally, I'm going to get them out there. You didn't know when he had Mein Führer Stephen Miller next to him, who wrote all of those harsh immigration policies from the past. You didn't know when he was so harsh to parents the first term. You went, this time it's about the white parents. I don't know about that.
Well,
it seems like you have a lot
politics during 2016, but so I wasn't.
And you didn't decide to do a single Google search. You're doing all of this stuff, finding all these videos about January 6th, and you're not researching the man you're going to vote for instead.
I was just caring about the people that I saw
that
were being lost in my own community, because it was right there.
For the laws that they broke. Those people were lost because of the laws that they broke. I'm sorry, what?
Benjamin Phillips is black. Benjamin Phillips is black. Like, a lot of the people weren't even white. Like,
yes, you know it's a white supremacist movement, and that when you're describing these scenes of these white parents, MAGA is a white supremacist movement. This is new to you?
Kelly. Look up Shakara Kelly. She is amazing. She talks about how we need to stop this hate. Shakara Kelly. She works for
Tracy, take a deep breath, because your white girl tears are not going to work here. Shakara Kelly. I've repeated it now for you. Shakara Kelly. Tracy, you coming here and talking about she's hung up. So Tracy tried to weaponize white girl tears, which you are going to be more. Oh my God, Jimmy's being so mean to her. She's crying now. She's crying now as she defends a white supremacist movement that then succeeded with her vote. And while in Colorado that didn't go for Donald Trump, did add to his, well, I won the popular vote, so now we have a mandate. I've got a mandate to do the dictator for a day, and I'm just going to extend that out. I do not care when a person who's going to call in and talk about, but the kids who lost their parents, when right now kids are losing their parents, but, you know, they're the brown ones.
Did she feel like they were duped into it? That some of the people were just accessories to the crime, and therefore they are not culpable?
Right.
Like, as though being an accessory to a crime is not a thing, like a unique legal category that we have specific rules around.
Like, bro, I just saw the murder and was there with the murderer and like gave the murderers rides. Okay, but like, I didn't do the murdering except for like, you know, standing there and obstructing the police from being able to get in and prevent the murder. But I didn't like do the murdering. So like, don't take me away from my kids, because I know that I voted for brown people to now get murdered, but don't take me away from my kids. Like, it's, you're white. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I only know you're white because you obviously are, but I don't even know for a fact. But that was such trying to weaponize white girl tears for like, you voted for white supremacy. And you are you participated in ruining the families of many brown people and many queer people. You come in and you start with all this empathy. And Luxander, I don't want you to get hurt. Okay, I just want them to research it more. And I called and I gave them a piece of my mind when I said, hey, I knew that when I voted for you, as soon as you had the vote, I'm not rich, so you're not going to feel committed to me. But seriously, like, take your fucking white girl tears somewhere else, because it doesn't work.
I don't think I believe in democracy anymore.
Well, I don't think we've had democracy. I think I do.
No, I'm just like, how many people do we get who are like, I didn't know these things, and then I voted, and I'm like, why were you allowed to vote, you stupid person? Like, the country is being, all the research they didn't do. This country now being run by somebody who like was voted for by a bunch of people who didn't bother to do their most basic level due diligence on figuring out what the fuck they were supporting.
Oh man, that's
crazy.
And for the record, because somebody's going to be stupid in the comment, white girl tears doesn't refer to that if a white girl cries, it's not sad. I'm dating a white girl. If she cries, I'm probably going to, even if it is for silly reasons, I'm probably like sometimes she cries because she remembers Christopher Lee is dead. Okay.
Oh no.
Like, and look, I go and I get her chocolate and I give her cuddles and stuff. But in my mind, I'm like, that dude died a rich celebrity at an old age.
He was fine.
That's the way, like, that's the happy way to die. So like, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, listen, I'm going to come. But when it's like, it's this weapon of like trying to broadcast. And look, optically, is anybody gonna care that I'm making this point? No, because them using it against a white man, arguably, white men are who we should be more cautious about when they're making white girls cry. But the fact that I've heard those same tears with those same words directed at brown people, so you get the sympathy vote of like, oh my God, like, that black woman is absolutely bullying this girl right now because the girl is crying and that black woman is passionate that she deserves her rights. Like, that's the shit. And it was in that exact same fucking category. George says, what do we do? Oh, I don't know. How do we fix it? I don't know. I'm just here to complain, dude. What?
Yeah, true.
Did you mistake me for a leader? Like, what? I don't know. I don't fucking vote, I guess. Like, that seems to not matter that much now. Support the voices that I'm not even saying me. Support the voices that you feel like are important.
I am saying me.
Support Luxander. Make fun of fascists. Make it funny to be a fascist. Like, look.
That's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, just like their peepees are so dry.
Mm-hmm.
They're so dry. All right, let's do a couple more and then call it a night here.
Sounds good.
What was that last caller's name? I've already forgotten.
Tracy?
Yeah, Tracy, and then what was the douchebag earlier?
That doesn't narrow it down enough.
The one who kept crying and was on the toilet.
Oh, I have no idea. Was that David? No, that was David in California. I don't know who the fuck. I don't know.
It was all right. Well, 2 criers today. 2 criers. Y'all gotta stop with the crying. At least wait till it's justified. Also, okay, here's my problem is we were talking about like things that have ruined a lot of people's rights or like lives. But the thing that made her cry was me suggesting she's racist.
Yeah. That's classic white girl tears.
Guys, I think that might be the problem. I think that might be the issue.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I'm gonna grab a tissue. Mina in Colorado, also in Colorado. Great place, but I bet you'll be a better caller. The bar is low. Mina, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. It's Mila, actually, but
I can fix that. It's with an L, not an N.
With an L, yeah.
Oh, I got you. No worries. Typos happen. It's not a big, no big deal. Easy to fix on my end. Well, no big deal to me. You might bug you. All right, go ahead,
No,
Mila.
Hi. So the question I called in with was, is the distinction between sex and gender like a matter of fact or in a matter of opinion?
I mean, they definitionally have different definitions. So wouldn't it make it a matter of fact? I don't know what you necessarily mean, Mila. Do you mean like,
okay, let me,
is opinion
like
the word you mean, or are you saying like, is it a concept that evolves with time and doesn't have to be like, give me something to compare it to.
Okay, totally. Like, for instance, if I said like, murder is wrong, right? Like that's a opinion statement, not like a factual statement, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Not even entirely on that, because murder is specifically referring to unjust killing. So if you said killing is wrong, that would be a little bit, I guess, closer, but murder would mean we've agreed on a standard of that which is unjust, and so it either objectively is or isn't based on that standard.
I don't. So I guess maybe that's where I would like disagree is I guess like I don't believe there's like such thing as objective morality. Like
I didn't say there was.
Like I'll hear this. Well, but like I guess there's no like objective way to like define a word or define a category, right?
But if
like,
we
if
create a standard like that which is unjust is that which violates the autonomy of another individual. So a murder which is unjust is a killing, an unjustified autonomy violating murder that takes away a person's right to live for some other reason than self-defense or whatever would take away those justifications. So objectively, if we come up with those terms of what murder is, here's the definition. Objectively, you either have met the definition or not. So we as a society, if you say murder is wrong, and we have a definition of what murder is and what would make it right or wrong, then according to that standard, you either objectively are or aren't. But you could say that then beyond there, it becomes subjective. But if we're going to become that pedantic, then all words are subjective because we can change all of them at any time we want.
I mean, I would agree with the following statement. You're actually making my point for me. In order to like objectively measure, you have to define the categories. For instance, like I would say there's no objective way to define a word like planet. Ultimately, it's a subjective argument about like, all right, we can use objective metrics to like define the parameters. Okay, a planet has to be, a certain radius, it has to clear its orbital field, things like that. But like, you can't go out into nature and like objectively measure, okay, what's the right definition to use? You can like create one and say, okay, according to this definition that we've established, we can then measure how whether or not this object aligns with the parameters of that category.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and so we found that with both sex and gender. Both of those definitions have evolved as we found out that what we previously contained all things that were sex doesn't quite fit, and what we previously contained all things that were gender doesn't quite fit, and they diverged when it became useful to split them. Go on.
But again, my point is that like there's no like objectively correct parameters to choose. Like, if I say I think a planet should be defined this way, you say I think a planet should be defined that way, right? Like,
sure, but at a certain point when we make a solar system, we do have to agree at some level. So when we're talking about the treatment of trans people medically, we do have to say the best definition that the medical world should be adopting is this one. And then culturally, how we treat other people should be this one. And trying to make it very broad isn't useful. We could do the same thing with orientation. Nobody gets to get married because everyone's a little gay. So there's no way to not have a gay marriage. It's all illegal.
Well, I mean, and I agree, but that's kind of making my point, right? Like there's no...
I don't know what your point is to make it.
My point is that it's always a subjective choice to decide whose framework we're going with to define the terms of the definition.
But you can defend which one's best, just like I can defend secular humanism morality much better than Christian morality, and I can then.
And we can use objective
you're the
standards.
asshole if you use the wrong one.
I'm not saying you can't defend it, right? I'm just saying that like you have to defend it, right? I don't have to go out and like.
Of course, that's how every word.
Of light.
That's how every concept is. You should accept the most.
But something like the theory of gravity, right? Like nobody has to like defend that. We just go out and we measure. That's what makes it.
What? Yes, of course they do. What? What? Nobody has to. We defend it on our channel. What are you talking about? No one has to defend. Of course you do.
Oh no! Listen. I hear. I majored in evolutionary biology and evolutionary neurology. So like I literally have like spent my life arguing with Texans about like dinosaur bones were implanted by the devil. I understand what you're saying.
Mila, do you think gender and sex are different, that the most useful definitions that are going to help people in both scientific and cultural advancement include separating their definitions?
I agree. Yes, I do. But I think that's my opinion. Like my opinion is that like murder is wrong. My opinion.
And do you think you can defend that opinion several grades above the second place opinion?
Yes, but I think I'm still defending an opinion is my point, right? Like
sure, if we're going to be so pedantic as to call the definitions of words opinions and like who we should let define what, but generally like as a woodworker, I'm going to let actually it'd be botanist, but I think botanists should name plants. You know, I'm comfortable with that. But in my opinion, you can call it a tree and I can call it a woozle wazzle, and that's just an opinion, man. But clearly there's a much better authoritative answer. And most people are going to go with trees over, I shouldn't have said woozle wazzle because that's so much fun, but some other word that's less fun to say.
Can I explain kind of why I don't think it's pedantic and why I kind of think it's like essential to the issue of like, I guess, communication with like opponents of trans rights?
Possibly, but I feel like you think we disagree on something when the chair example is brought up on Takis and other shows so often. And the whole idea of the chair example is that there's no perfect definition of a chair, but we all have a general idea and we adapt on the basis of that which we is like what we have figured out about chairs. And so while we can't eliminate everything on the basis, there are clear examples of a chair that we don't need to modify the definition of. And I guess I don't know what it is where you think we agree or what you mean when you say you're kind of making my point for me, because I haven't yet found that we have a divergent. Where do we diverge? Do we? Is this just an agreement?
No,
Where is?
I think we do. I think we do.
Okay.
And that's why I said I'd be happy to explain why I think it goes further than pedantic.
Can we ignore the pedantic point? And I'll just say I was wrong to say that. And we just go to diverge. Where do we diverge?
Okay, fine, no worries. Where we diverge is, I think, like you said, like you think like we can objectively, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misrepresenting your point of view, but you said like we can objectively define something like wrong when we're relating it to homosexuality. Like homosexuality isn't wrong if we define wrong this way, and then we measure homosexuality and say, okay, it doesn't align with that definition, right? Like,
we can't objectively define, but we can objectively identify whether something is consistent with an agreed upon definition.
Yes, exactly. So, but what definition we choose is ultimately a subjective decision. And some things aren't, like, for instance, when we define something like the speed of light, like, I mean, sure, we can argue about like the definition of speed, but like if everyone's agreeing on the definition of speed, we don't have to disagree about the measurements if we all agree it's, time over distance.
Except for you're once again giving an example of something that on the surface is fine, but actually when we get into the level, did you know it's actually impossible to truly measure the speed of light. We only know that which is consistent, but we can't prove that the light did anything outside of our expectations between the 2 points. Like literally everything you're describing, there's always levels of but if, could be's, would be's. And so my whole point in the first place was I feel like you're trying to reduce it down to everything subjective. And my instinct is, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not.
But my instinct, Mila, is that you're going to go, therefore, my excluding trans people is just as valid as somebody including, when that's what's not.
No.
One is more defensible than the other.
That is absolutely not my point. My point
Okay,
is
good.
the opposite, and the reason I'm explaining why I want to distinguish between like whether something is subjective or objective is to say, hey, like we should root our definition in something that is, or like our defense in something that is not a matter of opinion of, okay, how do we define a word like biological female or woman based on like reproductive anatomy or something? How do we like define it on something kind of more?
That was the practical reason for diverging the definitions.
Could you explain that?
What you're describing is why the definitions have been diverged, that it was useful as we were finding categories, that we were finding that they weren't perfect. It was more useful to take gender one direction and sex the other direction.
True, but that's, you know, for us who all agree that it's useful. Some people, you know, for instance, the people that tend to call into the show and disagree, they don't even necessarily, I don't think they disagree that like sex and gender are distinguished. They just don't think that is something that is worthy of its own category. They would just call it personality and say that it's a meaningless definition and therefore like it doesn't count for anything, and sex should be the sole, sex defined as like the reproductive anatomy that you were born with is what should define like the category distinguisher. Whereas we would say, you know, I think gender is what matters in like, let's say, most contexts. Does that make sense?
Sure, but I still don't see, I'm not going to further accommodate bigots to make them feel bad. I'm not going to change the terminology or the descriptions of things about geology to accommodate flat earthers either. We're going to continue to correct them and make it so that a popular argument that they make now is perceived as ridiculous in the future, in the same way that the two plugs argument for gay sex, now when people make it, we're like, it's accepted by the majority as that's dumb, and yet it used to be basically the argument that they would print policy based on.
Okay, but so that's why I'm bringing this up, is to say that I don't think that you can win an argument on sex and gender are two distinguished categories the way you can win an argument on the earth isn't flat. Like, I think that it's ultimately like what is a real American? What is a true Scotsman? What is a, like,
I mean, I think the problem we're running into here, Mila, is that like, I think that you are disregarding a lot of objective evidence that can be used to substantiate those positions. Like, hold on. When you say, yes, we can accurately and from multiple different angles come to the same answer about the speed of light, because it is a physical thing that we can measure to some degree, or like the existence of black holes, we can infer their existence because of how they impact the space around them. But when we are talking about the difference between sex and gender and whether that is something we could call objective or subjective, is like, it's an objective fact that there is an amount of harm and distress associated with a disconnect between sex and gender. That's the entire premise of my argument, saying that trans people deserve access to medical care, is that we can measure distress. We can hook people up to machinery to measure their brain, and that is enough to say there is a measurable difference between sex and gender, and there is an objective standard by which we are separating these two concepts. And that's why it exists in the first place. Part of what Jimmy was saying earlier, like, we didn't make it up for the sake of convenience. We observed repeated patterns and came to an objective conclusion about the existence of sex and gender being distinct from each other.
Agreed. And the people who disagree with us say that the objective harm that it causes is irrelevant because the rights of real women matter more than the feelings of delusional men who identify as women. And then we get caught into a...
And that's a completely different argument, that changing our definitions or accommodating their bigotry will not affect at all.
Okay, so guys, if you don't want to, like, I can make the point, but I think the reason why you guys don't understand what my point is because every time I kind of get close to the point, you guys are like kind of, you know.
How much time do you need to make
show,
the
like,
point in totality?
Could you give me like 60 seconds?
Yes, go. In fact, just
Okay.
go I won't speak again until you say you are done.
Okay. I'm going to be as brief as possible. My point is that like whenever you're, my point is that like, I think in order to have a more productive, in order to prove them wrong, I think that we would have to basically not get caught in the subjective argument of how do we define these terms, or is the distinguishing factor between sex and gender, like, is it valid, is it not valid? Like that comes down to something subjective. I think we have to prove them wrong like you would prove them wrong like like the speed of light or that the earth isn't flat. So my point is actually that by using their own definition of what they call a, like if they're going to say that, okay, you have to be a biological female, then like we would basically address that point and be like, okay, instead of arguing about whether or not sex and gender are different, let's root our defense in something that isn't a matter of opinion, like whether or not sex and gender are different things. Let's root it in something that we can agree on the definition of and measure objectively, like the speed of light or the shape of the planet. Done.
I
Like
don't
what?
feel you shared
Mila?
anything that wasn't that I had
Please
missed.
give me an example of something that we could use to measure trans people's realness in a way that is as concrete as the speed of light.
The dominant morphology of the body sex differentiation.
What does that mean?
So morphology is shape, right? The dominant meaning, is it closer to this end of the spectrum or that end of the spectrum? If you see sex as a binary bimodal distribution, and then so not binary, a bimodal distribution, which is the opposite, and of the body's totality. So it's the same standard we use to, you know, their premise is like even if you're intersex male or intersex female, the standard that we use, that they agree on is, well, that person is male or female because their dominant morphology that they were born with is, you know, towards small gametes or large gametes. So I would basically kind of show that like they're, according to their own definition, which is how they would define a the biological sex of an intersex person or an endosexual person, you could apply that same logic to a trans person's medical outcome. And with that same logic, then you know, like I'm not saying this is how you should define a planet. I'm saying if that's how you're choosing to define a planet, I can prove that those when I measure Pluto, it meets the criteria you established for the definition.
How successful has this been for you, Mila, when you've tried it on transphobic people?
Out of about 17, I've converted about like 12.
Mm-hmm. So what percentage of Americans do you think, well, let's start with this. Is it a debatable fact whether or not Noah's Ark happened?
I guess if someone wants to make the claim, extraordinary claim.
But we could
require
use just
extraordinary
the same
evidence, so
objective
someone-
means that you're describing, that you think we're lacking at doing right now with trans issues, even though I didn't hear anything
not saying
outside
you're
the realm of the
lacking
type of arguments. But for the record, we could use purely objective means to demonstrate that a global flood did not occur within the last 10,000 years, right?
Well, no, because that would be like proving there's no God, right? You can't prove a negative. The person making the
You
claim
can
would have
absolutely
to
prove that
show-
you can absolutely prove that the Noah's flood did not happen. Of course, you can prove certain negatives. You can.
Well, of
I can
course,
prove.
there were records of Japanese civilizations, you know. But
Right.
I just mean that, like,
And you can use
generally, like-
science. You don't even need a single person to be alive. You don't need a single historical record as you're looking at the layers, as you're looking at like there's plenty that we can go on to prove that there wasn't a global
But I
flood.
think even if we lacked that, even if we lacked the proof that like Noah's Ark didn't like actually go down the way they described, like still the burden of proof would be on them to prove their claim. It wouldn't be on
Sure.
us to disprove it.
Fine. I'm fine
Okay.
taking up the burden of proof. And the reason why I'm asking you this, because their claim is gender is determined by sex at birth, that they are indistinguishable. And that is their claim. They don't take on a burden of proof, or at least they have the burden of proof. They don't take it on. But the reason why I asked you about Noah's flood and could we speak only to objective means, proving or disproving it, and the answer is clearly yes, is because 60% of Americans still believe Noah's flood happened. And you could use purely only the objective means that are quite accessible that you're describing. 57% of Americans believe that gender is determined at birth by your birth sex. So it actually has a 3% advantage over it. So if we can't beat them on Noah's flood by just simply changing the language in the way that you're describing, that I still have not yet heard a thing that is in opposition generally to types of arguments we make depending on the caller. And I think there are much easier methods to point out their own hypocrisy than the one you just described. But even if we didn't, 60% of Americans believe that within the last 10,000 years, the entire world was covered in water. I don't see the argument that you're making as something that is useful, but if it escapes what we are already doing when appropriate.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Okay, so my response would be that we don't have to convince 60% of Americans. We need to convince a smaller portion of activists and lawmakers. And also, I would say that 60% of Americans didn't support gay marriage. It did kind of trickle up from I guess the early 2000s versions of influencers basically spreading the idea, and then it reaches an acceleration point where it shifts popular opinion. So even if 60% of people still believe in Noah's Ark, and I mean,
wait. Before you go forward on that, what objective means did they use to demonstrate that gay people exist?
They didn't use objective means, but again, the argument wasn't gay people aren't real. The argument was gay marriage isn't real.
Yes, it was. I was there. It was absolutely gay people aren't real. This is a phase. It's a choice. What do you mean it wasn't that they aren't real?
I was there too. I was a gay man at the time.
Then how did you miss it? Mila, how did you miss it?
I didn't miss it.
You didn't miss that we don't exist?
On my windshield and lipstick. I definitely did not miss it. I heard the people calling me a girl and throwing me into the men's bathroom and trust me.
But you just made the case that the argument was that we don't exist when it absolutely was the argument. That at the core, the religious version of it was God doesn't put a female spirit in a male's body. Really, they've copy and pasted the old trans arguments to now. I genuinely, Mila, I know I'm quite pedantic, so don't take this as meaning to only be an insult. Maybe I admire it, but I do think that what you are engaging in is a type of intellectual pedantry. But if you can find the method by which to do it and demonstrate success with it, I'm open to it, but I haven't heard you make an argument when appropriate that we don't make.
I can show you the results of 12 out of 17 TERFs that I've debated on TikTok that have all come up to me and said that I was the first person to make them change their opinion about trans people and trans women. I didn't get them to go all the way from 0 to 100, but I got them to do the first steps. And once you get them to kind of acknowledge that, okay, some trans women, according to my own definition of biological female, are biological female, then you can kind of help them understand the concept of what gender identity is, and then from there you can kind of help them. It's like playing chess. You have to kind of anticipate all of your opponent's moves and
So are you saying this is a mere tool that you think needs to be added, or this is the way?
No, I think it's a tool that can be useful specifically when debating TERFs or trans exclusionary radical feminists. There's different kinds of anti-trans people, and obviously they require different methods and approaches. Obviously someone who believes dinosaur bones aren't real isn't going to be persuaded by scientific evidence. But generally what motivates TERFs in my experience is this idea of us versus them, and we earned our womanhood. They're not real women. And that's usually the common ground I've been able to use successfully so far, not 100% of the time, but 12 out of 17. Sorry, I didn't do the fraction in my head, but it's been fairly effective.
Sure. Now, the 12 out of 17 number, I'm going to try to not be too pedantic myself about that. 12 out of 17, when you got them to the point where they would have those conversations in the first place, is quite different than, for example, if you were doing the call-in show here and taking all of the, you've heard on this show, people who were transphobic, who there was no statistical thing you were going to say, because they wouldn't even let you finish saying any of your sentences, nor would they have heard you. But you also undoubtedly heard the call with David, who at the beginning of the call was worse for trans people than the end of the call. Whether or not that will hold or not, who knows? The 12 out of 7, basically what I'm saying is, I hear you. I don't know. At first when you were talking, it was as though this is what we should be doing instead. Like when you're talking about, you're making my point for me, as though it would have been something we were going head to head at. And so, yes, I agree that when it is appropriate to take things to a direction where they are appealing to an objective measurement that you can point out their hypocrisy of more objective things, sure. However, we've also seen the tremendous effect of not having to ask people to get to the level of being a neuroscientist to identify that trans people are going through shit and they should just let people get the outcomes that improve their lives and not rely on their, WebMD level of experience to make medical claims.
Agreed. And for what it's worth, with the 12 out of 17, I don't even have to bring up brain sex or any of that. I can go with just the objective outcomes of medical transition. And that is medicalisty, but again, it's foot in the door. But I'm not calling in to say hey, this is the one size fits all cure to all transphobia. Obviously, there are different perspectives, different techniques, and also just stubborn assholes who have weird motivations and just don't want to be wrong. My
right. They're also going to tell you that the medical outcomes are all lies. They're just going to say, yeah, those stats are made up, or the people who say they're happier now are lying.
And we don't trust the sources, and we don't trust but thankfully I can usually get past that by just showing them it's a fact that someone with XX chromosomes can grow a dick and balls. That's how I was born. I had XX. The genes for dick and balls are on all 46 chromosomes. It's not X, that one Y chromosome or that XXXY combination has all the genes necessary for. But again, I don't need to
it's the SRY gene that activates it on your Y chromosome typically. Yeah.
Right. It flips the switch, and then all of your chromosomes do the actual developmental differentiation. But the reason I bring that up is to say that the 60% of people that can't be swayed, my goal isn't to say hey, this is something that will persuade them. My goal is to say that even if we don't persuade them, we can at least persuade lawmakers to say objectively, these people who have reached these outcomes deserve rights based on the outcomes of the reality of their bodies. And it doesn't matter if 60% of the people think that Noah's Ark happened or whatever. And that doesn't solve everything, right? Because then we have to worry about the trans people who can't or don't want to medically transition. And then we can make the subjective arguments about, subjective in the sense that murder is wrong, child, abuse is wrong, a valid, subjective
I feel
argument.
Earlier in this call, I did say that you can objectively demonstrate that transition is good for people and that sex and gender are different because of the medical outcomes. And then you protested that point and made it seem like I was not understanding what you were saying. But you've just restated what I stated earlier.
You can demonstrate that child abuse is wrong, by the way, objectively.
Yeah. I come from the position there's no such thing as any objective morality. But
Mila,
don't have to get in the weeds about it. But
there's no way you'll disagree if when you hear the pedantry. If you use the word abuse, you are agreeing that whatever the term is, whatever the definition is, basically you're saying that we're agreeing that wrong treatment of children is wrong. The word wrong is part of the definition of abuse very broadly.
Right,
so if you're going to use the word abuse, then objectively it is wrong. There's no way around it in that case.
Of course, but we are subjectively deciding that the word abuse means, and I get it. It's asymptotic. It's you're actually, if you define, I can't think of an example, but if you define a word a certain way, then obviously the outcome of that definition is going to feed back into the definition. my point was, I'm very sorry, Lux, if I made it seem as if I was disagreeing with you or like correcting you, because that was not my intention. My intention was to say that, like, yes, I agree and I see you and like where you're coming from and what your point is. I'm just kind of trying to reach around to this other, reach around was awkward phrasing. I'm trying to make a different point, and I was kind of trying to redirect onto like where I was focusing. I'm sorry if that came across as me like correcting
I just
you,
feel
'cause that
like
was
you're
absolutely
trying to
not my
find some
intent.
objective thing to point to, and I don't know what that thing is. Like, if you want to measure the speed of light and you want there to be something equally material and physical and tangible for trans people, the only objective thing we can look at and or point at is medical outcomes.
Yeah, so the dominant morphological outcome of a person's, so morphology means like how the shape, how the developmental outcome is shaped. So by explaining to them that everyone has the genes for both male and female, past like genes, like you have the ingredients, you have the blueprints for both sexes, and that you can basically use hormones and surgeries to change the outcome of a person's body, then you end up with the outcome of a body that is dominantly organized around the production of large gametes, even if you can't produce them, even if they were born, developed, organized around small gametes.
So you
I'm gonna
believe
be
men
totally
should
for
be
real with
allowed
you.
to beat up women? Because that's how that argument would go, just so you know.
Yeah, I think that TERFs
Right.
have your regularity of talking to TERFs and trying to de-radicalize them is poisoning your brain, I think.
You're not a
But, I mean,
transmedicalist,
it's
are you?
poisoning their brain more than mine.
Here's hoping. You're not transmedicalist, are you, Mila?
No, I don't believe there should be any medical gatekeeping for trans people who need access to care.
And you don't see that as undermining when that part comes up in the argument? Trying to make
Absolutely
it
not.
objective
No,
like that?
No, I can see how it would only get them so far. It would get them as far as a transmedicalist position. But I'm saying once they reach a transmedicalist position, then it's a lot easier to get them to see why they should go further, because it's hard to get them to go from 0 to 100. It's easier to get them to go from 0 to 20, 20 to 40. And I know that's incrementalism, and I hate neoliberals too. My point isn't that like we should like pander to them. My point is that like generally whenever it comes to persuasion, I know my background was like in marketing. I was in marketing for 8 years. Like there's just like a certain method that I have found to be effective in my anonymous debates on TikTok with some very radical feminists.
Mila, I'll commit to this. After I eat dinner, I'll watch the call back and see if I get it better.
Okay. Can I make one last point before, I know you guys got to go, but can I just kind of make my wrap-up statement?
Yeah, just don't defend January 6th like the last caller.
Oh, damn it. Okay, never mind.
Are you
then.
white?
You guys
No
have a
white
good
girl
one.
tears.
I'm kidding. No. I'm not white, but I do have Persian tears. So,
Okay.
anyways, but I'm kidding. Point is, my point isn't that like, this argument is going to change 60% of public opinion. My point is that at the very least, it can, just collecting my words. My point is that like we can at least convince a smaller population of lawmakers and activists that like, hey, we can objectively, our objective outcomes and proofs that we can objectively prove matter more than their 60% of America's subjective opinion of sex and gender being defined differently, or gender being meaningless, or Noah's Ark happening, or the earth being flat, like, and typically I guess
If that seems easier than eating them, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. Sorry to,
No, you're good. Thanks,
for
Mila.
listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I was so confused for so much of that call.
Yeah, well, because you don't know that Mila's a trans woman who calls us on Takis to do that exact same shtick on a regular basis.
Oh, I did not know that at all.
Yeah. It's like I think she means well, but also I would never take her calls again if I had any choice about it.
Well, I still got more calls with Mila ahead of me. Maybe.
Sure. You can do that. That's fine.
I'm not worn
I
out.
don't have any say. I'm not saying like we're going to ban her on Takis. She'll probably get in some other time and I'll be like, damn, it's real sad that I'm here today.
I suspect that I would be equally insufferable calling somebody else who was using a different tactic than I thought was most effective. That said, I don't believe in that concept, because I think that like we have a large variety of people at the line, because I think it takes It takes all kinds.
Types. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like clearly in the last couple of years I've adjusted, and mine is the one right way.
It's true.
So don't fuck it up. Let's see. Wait, was that the one who called earlier? I'm not sure. Oh man. All right, we'll take this because
Oh, she said the call dropped. She didn't hang up. The call dropped. So she's trying to get back in.
Possibly. All right, we'll talk to Forrester real quick in the meantime. Forrester, sorry for making you stay on so long because we're probably not going to make this call super long. But Forrester, you're on the line with Luxander and Jimmy.
Hello. Hi there.
Hi.
You hear me, I hope.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I'll see if I can be briefer. So, well, good morning, dear host. I'd like to see if we could do something interesting with the question I have concerning the two-party system that you have in the U.S. and what that might entail for the discourse, the political discourse that you have. I could go on with my view from where I stand, my little puddle that I live in Sweden. I've never been to the States, and I've never visited. I've lived in Mexico, but yeah, they also have their issues politically and pretty much the same system as you do. But do you have any take, or do you have something to say about the fact that you have a very dichotomized political system, as it seems from where I stand?
It's dumb.
It's a hostage situation.
Yeah. Also, it's a fake two-party system. The parties are divergent in cult personalities, but ideologically, they're there to protect billionaires and keep rich people rich, poor people poor, middle-class people as laborers, and poor people as laborers.
That's pretty, well, it seems obvious, yeah. But I sensed what it does to the discourse when it comes to, well, it's such a large topic, of course, but I think it infantilizes the discussions that I seem to take part of. I can't watch mainstream media. But I have like Democracy Now! And other outlets that give a very, well, like a Swedish version of American news. But it makes for black and white takes on pretty much anything. Well, except for the constant discussions on optics all the time, and that I don't understand, instead of discussing certain topics, I mean, in detail. But so you are not content, I hear, but could you say something about if you could choose another system, how that would look, and what the pros would be?
I'd abolish the Senate. I'd expand the Congress. I'd probably abolish the presidency. I would make us an actual representative democracy. I would get rid of gerrymandering. I don't know what else you need. Neither Lux nor I belong to either of the two parties that are represented in the U.S.
Yeah, but those that you support, don't they have to become either a part of the? If we take Bernie Sanders, for instance, or
never succeeded to do so. When you say that they have to succeed, when did they do so?
I mean, he's a senator, so technically, like, he did something on a, it's like on the local level, we can surely, like, I can vote for a socialist locally.
Kind of. Did Bernie,
well, yeah.
What happened? Did Bernie succeed and then we started getting socialist stuff, or did Bernie become a senator and then start to suck? Or like the DNC,
I mean, him being an extreme minority.
He didn't seduce them.
Yeah, he is. But at the same time, it's difficult to say what people might vote for, since the opinions of certain politicians or certain politics is not elucidated. I mean, you can't tell really. It is. I don't know what to say really. I wanted to keep it brief. It's just that
good enough.
Seems like both Well, perhaps I'd call back and see if I could, take up
All right.
more of your time.
Thanks, Forrester.
Thank you.
Which one was Tracy before? Oh,
She was
January
the
6th.
one who cried. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Well,
Her
Tracy,
call
all right.
just dropped, apparently.
We'll bring you back on. No, I don't believe that for a second.
Silly. I never cried.
Tracy,
I'm a
okay.
pansexual, bisexual, autistic girl. You could never make me cry with the fuckers I have that to deal with.
Great. Well,
Silly.
one, I don't believe you didn't cry, and two, I don't believe you actually just got disconnected, personally. But go on.
I don't really care what you believe.
God, boy, haven't I
what
noticed.
I care about is telling you why I voted for Trump, because I want you to know, because it sucks. Because honestly,
you realize
overall,
you were wrong?
I do regret it, which is what you want.
Good.
It's not a wrong and right. There's a reason it happened, okay? And it sucks it happened, but it happened, all right?
Okay,
So
but it was wrong.
I thought with the border shit, I honestly thought he was just gonna go after like people that were bringing fentanyl in, like you said, and people like that were sex trafficking. I didn't realize that he was gonna go for like freaking grandma. Like,
Except
I think
for that's not all he
horrible
said.
that he's doing that.
That's literally not all he said, though. He didn't say he was only
I
going
don't
for
know
the
what
criminals,
he
only
all
for the
said,
fentanyl.
but I
Right.
didn't realize that that's what was happening. I was focused on people like Benjamin Phillips that literally held Roxanne's hand as she died, getting sentenced to freaking 20 years. I was focused on people that just walked through a building getting that's where my focus was on. And then honestly,
Just walking through a building.
all
Yeah.
the people
Right.
that like
Okay, so
all
far
the
we're still
people that,
going with
like-
reasons why. Just want to be clear. We're waiting for the reason it wasn't clearly wrong because your misplaced focus and omission of all the facts upon what you should have voted.
Oh no.
But in the end,
I have a
you
question,
said,
though. If Obama was
so
the
far,
one that set up the
Tracy,
cages, how would not voting for Trump help them not do what they're doing? And weren't
Tracy,
they doing it already?
Tracy, I wasn't done. So far, you've only identified reasons why it was wrong, but you think that that you're really mad that Biden called it an insurrection and Kamala Harris called it an insurrection, and that made these people sad from this white supremacist movement that was trying to stop democracy from happening when they absolutely did commit those crimes. So you voted for Trump because you were sad that people
your
lose
view.
their...
There's a middle. Some people were there to protest, just like many people have protested.
And
then
they committed crimes. And then they
You can
committed
be
crimes.
an unwitting accomplice to a crime. Like, just because they maybe were not primarily there to commit a crime does not mean that they were not there aiding and abetting people committing a crime. That is still a crime.
I don't think people
it's called
that
being
walked
an accessory.
through a Capitol deserve 20 years. You
They
could
didn't
never
simply
convince
walk
me of that.
through a Capitol.
Yes, there are people. Yes, some of them did. I have video. Some of them just walked through. They even walked through little.
There's no such thing
lines.
as just
They
walking
had,
through, and you
lines.
continuing saying I have video does nothing for me. I've seen lots of the video. Walking into a clearly broken in building, broken windows, broken doors.
I don't want to argue with you about that because that's not why.
Because you're
the
wrong.
The reason why is because when I started posting about the 4 deaths, Roxanne, Benjamin Phillips, Kevin Greason, Ashley Babbitt, people that I would talk to, just because I was posting these videos, threatened to kill me. They would send news pictures. They would
and Biden was going to do it if you had voted for Kamala Harris.
Say all this stuff about Trump, and it made me not believe any of you. I stopped believing my press because they lied about J6. I stopped believing all of you.
Okay, great. So Tracy, you've isolated. So Tracy, you are here saying that. Tracy,
Phillips is black, and
Tracy,
that's the main person I was, like,
Tracy,
hurt over.
Jesus fucking Christ! Oh
sick.
my God, Tracy, shut up every now and then. You are once again getting, whether there are physical tears there, I don't know. You are crying now, but I don't know what's pouring down your thing and getting so offended at this concept. Yes, you took your personal experience and went, so I'm going to vote against the crappy people. Guess what? I've been shit on by leftists. I've been shit on by Democrats. I've been shit on by Republicans. And I got out of my own fucking head and went and did research and found out what is the best outcome for humanity after. So it was still wrong. And I guarantee you I've gotten more death threats from people who are claiming to be leftists than you ever did combined, probably in a month, depending on the specific month and things I've said. So your whole this whole oh, woe is me. You guys made me stop believing. I'm so sorry that you did not evaluate the well-being of other people and that the sad things that were happening to your white supremacist allies would compel you to vote against the human rights of trans people and brown people. Because at the end of the day, that's what you did. And you've come up with a new list of reasons that you thought, this time when I call back, this will work. You thought these would be the ones that worked, and I am totally unfazed. You absolutely were wrong, and you supported a white supremacist movement. And do you know what you call a person who supports a white supremacist movement? A white supremacist. Now you're unmuted.
You're going after pawns.
Jesus, you were talking while you were muted too. Fucking Christ.
You're going after pawns. Going after pawns is stupid. You went after pawns, and that's why Trump won. And then you attacked people like me for telling the truth. That's what the left did, and it was stupid.
I'm sorry you're a white supremacist, Tracy.
And then they had the information.
Tracy, stop being a white supremacist. Now that you know it's wrong, will you just commit to not doing it in the future?
How the fuck can... Never mind, I'm not even going to ask
How the fuck could you be a white supremacist for supporting the guy who pardoned an entire group and said he was going to of white supremacists, and then also with his interactions with the Proud Boys, and then his plans for brown people when he got into office, and all of the fucking shit he'd ever said, supporting that movement because some people hurt your feelings?
How can the Proud Boys be racist when they're black and from, I think the guy from Afro-Cuba, he's Afro-Cuban? Like,
how could
the hell is that a
slavery be
white
wrong if
supremacist
black
group?
people were fighting for the Confederate Army? How could slavery be wrong if black people fought for the Confederate Army?
I'm just saying, how's that a white supremacist group?
Oh, do you know how fucking dumb you sound? Is that you realizing how dumb you sound right now? Wow.
Is Candace Owens a feminist?
Oh, Lex, you don't need to be rude. Why are you
Is
attacking
Candace
me?
Owens
You
a
don't need to be
feminist
mean.
or an anti-feminist?
I don't really like Candace Owens. I think she's
Is she a
kind of
feminist
mean.
or an anti-feminist?
Anti-feminist?
How could she be an anti-feminist when she's a femme? She's a woman. How could she be? Republicans in general, and by the way, Tracy, you did it too, vote against their own self-interest all the time. They fall for the grift.
I don't understand how they're white supremacists. They marry outside their race. Like, what makes them
Oh
white
my
supremacists?
God, they
Besides
do?
Biden telling us that.
Well, that ruins it
Yes,
for
they
me.
do.
The
Like,
fact that they are supporting policies that overwhelmingly transfer more wealth from poor people of color to rich white billionaires. Oh, but you know what?
Wait. You think the white boys are all
some
Trump
of those
supporters?
billionaires aren't
You
white.
actually think that?
What do I
Why
think?
are you putting people in these boxes?
Wait, go ahead and
assuming
repeat.
that all
Go
white-
ahead and repeat what I go
Okay,
ahead
so
and repeat what you say, I
that
think.
Not all Proud Boys support Trump, and I can pull up a news thing for you.
Oh, do you
of
have a
press
video of it?
conference of a guy literally being like, "I do not support Trump, and I am part of the Proud Boys."
Who gives a shit? We're talking about
Well,
January
you're
6th
the
and
one,
the Proud Boys
you make
actions
a
on
lot
those
of
days.
really
Hey, Tracy, did
stupid claims that aren't true.
Tracy, did the Proud Boys who showed up on January 6th support Trump?
I think that some of them did. I know some of them didn't. They just went because
Only
their
some.
friends went.
Oh, some of them went, but didn't support. But they were just there for the vibe. They thought it'd be a good party.
Honestly, a lot of them do ride, and they like ride their motorcycles
Tracy,
around.
I
and they
beg
go
you to
like,
stop being a
Washington
white
and Arizona.
supremacist. Please vote better next time.
Well, I don't know how I could have voted better next time. I mean, I had an authoritarian, or I guess he's a fascist from what I'm seeing. So, like, I think we would have been screwed either way, except Benjamin Phillips is in jail. And I know some colored people
we
matter
would have
to
been
you,
we would have been
other
screwed if
colored people
Kamala
matter to
Harris
you. I
was
guess
president.
if they don't have your politics, then you can just, then I guess they're not black if they don't have your politics.
What do you think would
Is
have
that how
been
it works?
bad about Kamala Harris's presidency? What did you just call Kamala Harris an authoritarian?
Yeah.
Yes, I think she's an authoritarian, and I think a lot of the people on the left
Tracy, do you know
think
why
she's
I think you think that?
and that's why you lost the election.
I think you get that vibe because she's a black woman.
I think we lost the election because you represent the average American.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty sick of watching the left do what they were doing.
Do you hear the phrase
And,
least common denominator a lot?
I'm just glad that the left aren't in power. At least the left that was. I hope.
No,
that,
I
like,
know.
you
Wait,
guys get
Tracy, you don't have to tell us that.
parties
We
together.
know that you are happy that trans people and brown people are being oppressed because leftism has not actually taken true power. We know that you as a personal person, as a white
I hate
woman,
the fact that
we know
like,
that you as a white woman,
I'm assuming.
we know that you, I'm muting you again because you won't shut the fuck up, that you as a white woman feel good about what's happening because you are currently in a position where you are benefiting, and everybody you see suffering, you know that it annoys a leftist and they were mad at you. And so if it annoys, oh no, all those dead kids in Gaza, that would make me sad. But look at how mad it makes Jimmy Snow. I'm glad we gave the absolute worst option possible. Not even just worse than Kamala. It's hard to imagine a worse person to put in charge of Gaza than Donald Trump. But, you know, I'm just glad the left didn't take power so that there would be more dead Gazan kids. I'm just glad because it makes them so upset. Ooh, did I trigger you, lefties? Oh no, are you triggered? Meanwhile, you've cried like 4 times on this. Let's see if she stopped talking for any of this.
You're silly.
You didn't.
You're silly.
You didn't stop the whole time, did you?
Do you like put words in everyone's mouth? Like, or are you actually able to have like a true, honest discussion with someone, like,
Tracy,
and actually find a middle ground?
Do you think that your words, the words that you have said, have made you look better than the words I attributed to you?
Oh my Lord, you are hateful. You are hateful.
That's true.
You are stuck in labels.
You make it easy. I'm being honest.
I'm stuck in labels.
I'm very hateful
Wow,
of certain ideologies. One of them is white supremacy.
I really assumed that you'd be like kinder to me. I don't know why you're acting like that.
I mean, it's probably because of all the fucking shrieking.
Yeah, neither of us are nice to white supremacists, and you are one.
I'm sorry, I have a very young sounding voice. Like, I can't help my voice.
Now, what do you do about the white
Like,
supremacy
you're
in
literally
your
calling
voice?
me a white supremacist and
You
angry
are.
at my voice. Like,
You voted for a white
I'm not a white
supremacist. You
supremacist.
didn't educate yourself. You decided that, oh, all the white supremacists who stormed the Capitol and tried to fucking kill politicians, oh, those were such sympathetic people. You felt so bad for them and their babies. These people, oh, they were only walking into the building right next to the people who broke the fucking windows. Like,
some of them were
it's really hard.
outside.
Hold on, Tracy. The reason why I'm being disrespectful is because you're making it fucking impossible to respect anything you said. Basically, what you've said repeatedly in this conversation is that you're stupid and you're willfully stupid and you're gonna cling to those beliefs. Like you're like, I think maybe it was wrong for me to vote for Trump, but here's all the reasons why I did it. And here's all the opinions that haven't changed since then. I still think it was really bad to malign all those people who stormed the Capitol and like our senators were like hiding in their offices, thinking they were going to be killed.
She wants to wake us losers up.
You don't know my sexuality.
The white supremacist wants to wake us up. I wouldn't care if you were literally. I'm not a
white supremacist.
T. Guess what? Last episode, a black MAGA guy was on and I called him a white supremacist. Your identity politics shit does not work on me. White supremacy is an ideology. It doesn't matter what your skin literally is.
And I think you're actually, and also the Gaza stuff is horrible. And I think what's happening with that is horrible. And how dare you say that I'm okay with that?
Oh my God.
And
yet,
like, why do you
are okay with it.
To, like, lie
Tracy,
to win?
Tracy, you're just okay
why do
with
you
it
have
in
to lie
act.
and put,
You have to stop supporting it with your actions.
I can't believe I used to look up to Lux. I'm such a loser for like thinking you were a good
think these
person.
emotional arguments work on anybody?
I
can't believe I used to look up to you.
Oh, I can't believe a femme would be mean to me.
Oh, you're such a disappointment. I'm so disappointed in you. Oh my God.
Apparently she hasn't been around on much Takis because like I'm mean to people sometimes when it turns out that they're deserving of it. And in this case, I think she did earned it. She earned it.
I think I'm just to ignore, when we put that out as a clip, look forward to the two-part put together clip called Tracy is a white supremacist. Oh my fucking God.
Good Lord.
I hope she tries to sue me over it. I would love, love to take your
For
money
slander?
because you did a slap suit. Yeah. Oh my God. Do it. Fucking dare you. Because I genuinely believe you are a white supremacist. You are white.
She looked up to
I love
me.
how at one point I think she was trying to say, why are you assuming I'm white? Instead of saying, like with everybody else, where she's like, so-and-so isn't white, so-and-so isn't white. Why are you assuming I'm white was when it came to her. And I I think you would have said I'm not white right away if you weren't. I think
typically that's how it goes because we have non-white callers.
Yeah.
It happens.
And again, I called T a white supremacist this very last, and I think he'll call again.
Oh yeah,
he
went off about the anti-Semitism. It was wild.
It was wild. How long have we been going? My bad.
It's okay. I could have told you to fuck off an hour ago, and I didn't.
Yeah. Hey. Shout out to some people who sent in some chat. Let me get a quick.
We had $100 from the Fuzzy Logic earlier. It was really sweet.
Fuzzy was awesome. And then I don't know where we left off, but I think it was about here. Stein Jarl. No, we had that one. Palestine and genocide is a genocide. Release the Epstein files from Dustin Javidin. Devin LeBear, thank you. Ash Glitch says Sinners Unite. Okay, that's where we left off. And then Agent 87, Jose can't call because he's worried about his dry pee-pee. Dude, that dude's pee-pee is so dry. That guy's got the driest pee-pee. Perfectly Flawed says, fuck all this cowardly posturing. They are the ones immediately going to identity politics. Well, that only bore out completely. Yes, you are correct. Fuzzy Logic says, suck it, Jose, or on second thought, don't. A lot of Jose's problems might be how bad he wants to suck it, but he's not allowed. I used to not make those jokes, and now I'm more about insulting them than I am about preserving my side's fifis. You know what I mean? I used to be like, guys, that joke's not really cool. Like, you're basically implying that it's gay people keeping other gay people down. The whole, homophobes are all secretly gay. And now I'm just like, bro, this dude just wants to finger my butthole. That's his problem.
Yeah, it turns out it's actually nice to like loosen up a little bit.
Yeah. It's nice to not. It's nice to have a club somebody would want to go to.
Yeah.
It's
easier to walk around without a stick up your ass.
Yeah. I liked Joshua said AMAC, all MAGAs are cowards. We got a couple in there and they proved that they weren't cowards, just that they were either dumb or evil. I don't remember any of the evil ones though. Due to his face. You saw it, right? Couldn't keep up when I was like, of the two categories, I don't think you're evil.
Yeah. And he said, thank you. And you're like, you're welcome.
Buddy, I got you. Shane says, thank you for what y'all do. Thank you, Shane. Untitled Final V2, this version says, who this female? Who this female?
That was crazy.
Did I ask that person if they had a girlfriend or a wife? Because I already know they don't.
It was someone. I don't remember who you did. I said it was David, and he was chill.
No, the David I asked too, but one of the other ones I asked, it wasn't. It was,
by the way, the name you were trying to think of earlier was Norm. Like the crying
the guy
one.
I said that I wish you'd switch places with the other Norm.
Mm.
Who knows what that means? Anyway, and they also said, ma'am, Untitled Vinyl V2, this version, ma'am. Los says, hey, Jimmy, Cracker Barrel changed back their logo. Does this give you any ideas? I didn't even care about the first. I just wanted somebody to explain to me how it was woke. That's all I wanted. I just didn't get what was woke about it at all. I probably would have supported it more if they were making a woke point. You know who's getting away with being woke is HEB down in Texas, the biggest grocer. Nobody's attacking them, even though they were like, yeah, you will pry our DEI initiatives out of our cold, dead fingers. And yet Texans are still like, what am I going to do? Stop having the best fucking macaroni and cheese in the goddamn world? Stop having fresh, hot tortillas every day? What am I going to fucking like turn my back on that? Nobody's shitting on HEB, and they are like, they're quite
convenience
woke.
Wins out over ideology every time.
Yep. Yeah. You didn't cancel Target until nobody was going to Target anyway, you assholes. Steve says, if God does not exist, everything is permitted. That church hooter proves it. I don't get it. Unless I don't think they're actually. Oh, Hooter. Wait, Hooter was the name of a caller, I think. Oh, talking about Ed Hoot or whatever. That was just dumb.
Yeah.
Harder Gamer says, it's sad to say, but this is the best show with Jimmy on it. I love all that's on the line and mods, etc. too, but Jimmy's on fire lately. Wait, why is it sad to say that this is me at my best? I'm doing the show because I think I'm actually good at the political stuff. I think I'm fine at atheism, but why is that sad to say?
Maybe because they want to see you more on the other channel. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's that. I was like,
trying to put a good spin on it.
Good to say? I don't know.
Ooh.
I have a better time doing this.
I have fun.
Yeah. I don't
normally yell at people like that. It might be the consequence of having been on for 6.5 hours. Like I don't normally get that bitchy, but man, she made it easy.
Lux, I just thought you would have been nicer to me. Based on zero
incorrect.
Evidence, because I never do my research. And you can't make
the lowest common denominator fucking sent me. I was like, I can't hold it together. Oh my God.
Harder Gamer says, and I must add, Luxander has been amazing to all this week. I'm quite fond of having Lux on, especially these Thursday shows. Next week is going to be Arden, unfortunately, I can't let any one trans, and I'm going to say it like that again to be annoying. I can't have any one trans think that they're my favorite over the other, so I have to mix it up. But I'm quite fond of tag teaming with Lux.
Arden and I are like the same person, except with opposite assigned genders at birth. We like dragons. I started watching True Blood recently, and I just mentioned it, and she was like, what the fuck? I'm watching True Blood right now. And it's like, we just keep having this happen over and over again.
I thought I was straight when I was 16, but staying up all night watching True Blood. Is that weird?
I mean, there's a lot of straight sex in there, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I pirated all of True Blood and kept like going to bed after going to school after not sleeping at all because I was up all night watching it.
It's so compelling. It's trash, but it's like I can't do anything else while it's on. I'm like, I'm just sitting here.
It becomes awful.
I'm in like season 7. I'm gonna get to the end, and I'll judge it when I get to the end. But it definitely has its weird moments.
I just more meant like it's less compelling later. It's really good early on, and I was surprised to find out that I thought Anna Paquin was hot. That was cool.
She is hot. Yeah.
Would not have guessed that I thought that. Thank you, Johnny Morris. Thank you, Rad Stormcrow says. It's bias blindness, can't see the faults of their own side. Also, TDS was coined by a Republican government official who was trying to solicit a minor. So look, am I surprised? No, but technically, like, you don't want to get it. It's like some terms come from some bad people that we even use, and the whole like,
yeah.
What's important is that wouldn't be the basis upon which I would say, like, obviously somebody who accepts it isn't automatically a pedophile unless they're a Republican. Okay. Untitled Final V2, this version says hashtag Team Lux in advance of this call. Yeah, I think that means you're winning. You have the most points. Ryan P says release the Epstein files. Thank you, Johnny. One-Eyed Heathen says y'all could make money hiring out town criers. Transfix says thanks for all you do at the line. Thank you for supporting. And Isla Ursa says rich of Tracy to say that Lux wasn't nice after insulting it at the beginning of the second call, and I must
have missed that. I don't remember what did she insulted me?
I don't know.
I missed it completely.
Oh man,
who cares?
Fucking white supremacists and pedo defenders. At the end, when like at the beginning was like, and sure now I recognize this, and then at the end it's like, and I'm just so glad the left, which clearly she doesn't even know what the left
isn't in power. Yeah, blah blah blah.
Isn't in power, and you're like, so you're like sticking with the pedophile guy. That's cool. That's cool to brag about. You fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
All right. I guess to end, I'm not saying Donald Trump is a pedophile. Oh wait, yes I am. That was the show, and this was good. Go follow Luxander on social media. Good is subjective. It's not objective, but if we had a parameter that said it's things that we said are objective, maybe we could measure it like the speed of light. And what else happened during this show? Norm was silly. David was fine, but I think David would still vote for Trump. And then there was Tracy. I think she's still crying, or maybe just still talking because she doesn't know she hung up. I guess that she's probably going to have round 3 in the shower where she pretends we're there, and then she wins all the points, and we're just like, oh my God, we're so sorry. You're so right, and we're so wrong. And then don't forget that somebody named Forrester called, but I forgot what they called about. Who was the first caller today? We didn't stay on the line with them very long. This is how I'm going to do the wrap-ups every time. It's just going to be singing about what happened. The first callers, their name was also David. They were from North Carolina, and they just complained that they weren't allowed to interrupt every time and not get enough time to talk, even though they never told a single sentence except maybe their first one without interrupting. So it was pretty fucking ironic, and that's the show. Go away. Sorry.